lakini huwezi kusema ati utategemea hii peke yake kwa sababu sasa matunda ni kidogo. Lakini kama ukiwa na ekaleji kubwa, makadamia inaweza kusaidia kwa sababu pesa iko.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Great. Good morning. It's the 3rd day of June 2026. It's Wednesday. 1, 2, 3. Third day of the week. Karibu sana. This is Good Morning Kenya on KBC Channel 1. We are glad that you're up and early with us once again. It's a very cold moment here in this city, but I'm told that some parts of the country is extremely hot. Extremely hot. The weatherman is saying that they are predicting 90% of El Nino. How true is that? But the big question is, are you ready? If I were you, I would have stocked ginger, garlic, what else, V? Ginger,
the
lemon,
honey.
Honey. Honey is measured in kg, not liters. Why? Give us on why? Give us on. Why is honey measured in kgs, not liters? And yet it's a liquid. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know, Victor.
Maybe because it's liquid gold?
Because it is liquid solid?
Liquid gold.
Liquid gold. In terms of color or what?
Why in kg?
Well,
Yes, that is a question I think that needs to be investigated.
Victor,
Yes.
najua hii ni kitu ulikuwa umefanya jana research.
yeah, so just tell
Sasa
us.
unakuja hapa kutuambush. Unataka kutungaria sasa, si ndio Victor?
Ngara sasa. Why is it
Ngara
measured in
Victor,
kg?
ngara shine.
I'm a good man.
Shine bro.
I'm a good man. So the thing is, let's talk about politics today. With specific direction to Western Kenya region. We all know that last week the Western Kenya members of parliament met somewhere in Naivasha, where they pledged that they are going to produce 2.6 million votes to President William Ruto's basket come 2027. Okay. But we all know that the Luhya factor has always been a very hard nut to crack when it comes to national politics and elections. And there are so many fragmented, decisions being made. The kingpin, who is going to be the kingpin of the Western Kenya region, where they're going to vote. We have got several alliances being formed right now. Some of them saying that watajaza kikapu by all means necessary. IBC said that is not going to happen. So today I want us to have a discussion with Ayub Savula. He is the Deputy Governor of Kakamega County. I want us to have that candid discussion, and I want him to tell us why he said that kikapu itajazwa, liwe liwalo, and he's pledged to work with President William Ruto and deliver 2.6 million votes in 2027. All right? That is a discussion I'm going to have at exactly 7 with Honorable Ayub Savula. Vivian, 2.6 million votes.
2.6 million votes. I mean, we will soon get into that official campaigning period. I believe it's going to start in August. So we're going to be hearing more of that and getting to see many other decisions being made. And yeah, this is the time for politics. And we have our eyes and ears on ground. Aside from politics, today being a Wednesday, we'll be having women at the forefront. And our woman at the forefront today will be Juliet Mungeli Mwema, who is the founder and executive director of Elevate Her. And we'll be looking at Juliet's blueprint for inclusive justice, as we generally get to take a look at from grass to greatness. She will be telling us how she is working around Elevate Her, who she is working with, and everything surrounding that. So you definitely want to be there for that conversation that will be coming to you at 9 a.m. Vivian Degwa is my name. Always a pleasure having you start off your day right here on Good Morning Kenya with us. Mike?
Yeah, good morning, team, and to everyone who is watching KBC Channel 1. On that same note, now the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap report indicates that political representation and empowerment remains the weakest link when it comes to gender equality at the world level. And even though countries like Kenya are making progress, given that we've seen many women rise to political positions and leadership, there is also a gap when it comes to representation. There is underrepresentation within the political structures. And as we head into 2027, how are women going to shape that journey within the political landscape of the country? So today I want us to look at women leadership and empowerment. And I will be having that conversation with Captain Irene Ndano, who is a commercial pilot, philanthropist, and founder of Captain Irene Ndano Foundation and Wara Foundation. That is a conversation that will be coming to you at around 8 a.m. So I implore you to tune into this live broadcast. Give us on.
Oh, thank you, Victor. Thank you, Vivian. Of course, it's a pleasure to meet Vivian this morning after quite a long break. And of course, Mike, thank you so much, guys. For me, I won't have much except to take you to the world of news, if you allow me. Definitely. Straight away.
Right.
Now, the High Court has extended the conservatory orders issued on Thursday to stop the establishment and operationalization of any Ebola-related quarantine facility in Kenya. Now, Lady Justice Patricia Nyaundi has further ordered the government to give a full disclosure of the quarantine facility. This after Katiba Institute informed the court that they were denied entry to the Laikipia quarantine site. Now, this is one person succumbs to injuries from Monday's anti-Ebola quarantine protest in Nanyuki, while two others are nursing serious injuries.
Kenyan High Court Judge Patricia Nyaundi has extended conservatory orders barring the government from establishing or operating an Ebola quarantine and treatment facility under an agreement with the United States. The ruling also extended the block on admitting, transferring or receiving anyone exposed to or infected with the virus into the country. These orders were issued following a constitutional petition filed by the Katiba Institute and the Law Society of Kenya on Thursday last week.
We are proud of our judiciary that has stood firm to ensure that there is transparency and as well as accountability here in Kenya.
In Nanyuki, one person died while two others sustained gunshot wounds in yesterday's anti-Ebola protest. A family in Baraka area on the outskirts of Nanyuki is mourning the death of their son, who was allegedly killed during Monday's protest in the town. The Ministry of Health has sanctioned daily meetings to assess the Ebola status in the country. Public Health and Professional Standards Principal Mary Mudhoni says Kenya has not confirmed any case so far.
We have a total of suspected Ebola virus disease samples that have been tested, which is 22 as at this morning, and all of them have turned negative.
According to Mudhoni, stringent measures have been put in place to deal with any Ebola threat, with over 1,000 health officers trained on response case management and infection prevention.
We equally have a field team that has been trained in the country of 90 healthcare workers. We also have other healthcare workers that have really been trained lately, about 70 of them. So we have capacity in case of a surge that we may deploy the healthcare workers.
According to the government, 25 counties have been categorized as either very high risk or high risk. The very high risk counties are Uasin Gishu, Busia, Kisumu, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, Siaya, West Pokot, Turkana, Homa Bay, and Migori counties. Kenya-Uganda borders heighten Ebola virus surveillance measures following the confirmation of 11 positive cases and 1 death linked to the deadly disease. Health authorities from both countries have intensified monitoring and screening activities at border entry and exit points to prevent the spread of the virus among residents and cross-border traders.
And away from matters Ebola, the fate of 9 students linked to the Tumishi Girls Senior School fire tragedy will be known on Wednesday. This is today. The court is set to rule on a plea by the prosecution to detain them for 30 days to allow investigations into the fire at the school that left 16 dead. The 9 were presented in a Naivasha court where they are said to, or rather they were charged with, among others, arson and murder.
Security was beefed up at Naivasha Law Courts in Nakuru County as 9 students linked to the arson attack at Tumishi Girls Senior School were arraigned in court. The suspects' faces remained concealed during the case. Presenting its case, the prosecution Security was beefed up at Naivasha Law Courts in Nakuru County as 9 students linked to the arson attack at Tumishi Girls Senior School were arraigned in court. The suspects' faces remained concealed during the case. Presenting its case, the prosecution sought to have them detained for 30 days to enable investigators conclude investigations. They also argued that releasing them would put their lives in danger due to the public outrage on the matter. However, their lawyers questioned grounds for detention without any formal charges having been preferred against them.
Your Honor, there is only one issue that should engage the mind of the court as to whether a suspect should be released on bond or not. We submit that the prosecution has not established a compelling reason.
Does the prosecution try to tell you that these children, if you release them, they are going to those separate homes, look for the other children, convince them not to come and testify against them? It's ridiculous.
They will remain in custody until Wednesday afternoon, when a ruling will be made on whether to continue detaining them or they will be released on bond.
So that now I'll deliver a ruling at 2 p.m. tomorrow. 2 p.m.
Of course, that is a story we'll be keenly following later in the day. That will be in Naivasha Law Courts. And of course, the following unrest in several schools, even away from Utumishi, members of the National Assembly yesterday in the afternoon session, of course, converged and spoke on this particular matter and how to address these issues. Take a listen.
More objective or more neutral when it comes to China.
Crime. Unfortunately, when arson leads to people losing their lives, it ends up becoming murder, which is another crime. So the question we are now grappling with is how then do we try a crime that is actually at such a level as murder? Because yes, we know they are children, but then what about the ones who have lost their lives? So, Mr. Speaker, it's a very, very sensitive place we are in, and I want to agree with the Honorable Martha that maybe we don't get into too much into the details, but it is important that as we proceed, the government must come up with maybe a commission of inquiry.
I think it is time that as Parliament we form an ad hoc committee to examine unrest in schools. It is not enough to leave it to the department anymore. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I think that we must also re-examine the circumstances that we're putting the schools to. If you look at the images of that school, and that's a high-end school, you see that the dormitory was highly congested. There were beds on the corridors, there were beds next to the door. This 100% transition without the proper infrastructure is part of the problem.
Ikiwa mwanafunzi unaona na uzito wakati wa mtihani, tusiwasukume sana, na nielezee pia wanafunzi na wengi wako hapa. Kuanguka mtihani sio mwisho wa maisha. Pengine hii ndio inafanya mtoto anaona mtihani umetolewa tarehe 16 hadi tarehe 2 hapa anaamua kuchoma shule. Hawa ni criminals, Mheshimiwa Spika, wanafaa kuwe ndani na wazazi pia wa take responsibility. Tumepoteza watoto wengi sana, Mheshimiwa Spika.
This must be our time for introspection, to ask ourselves, even as we point fingers at administrators in schools, as we point fingers at political leaders, those of us who are serving in the church, where are we failing in shepherding these young ones in the right manner, Honorable Speaker? Because there is a failure somewhere.
We need to come up as a country and also as a ministry, and the chairman of Meli must listen to this, Honorable Speaker. We need to have a standardized and policy, especially on the domes across the country, Honorable Speaker. You will find that there's what we know from those domes, they were very congested. In a queue which is supposed to take 12 girls, they are more than 12.
So let us not have knee-jerk reaction to this situation, condemning parents, condemning teachers, condemning everyone, when this problem might be much bigger than this. Let us, after this, look comprehensively at what the situation is. It's not necessarily about...
And away from that, let's take you to Murang'a, where residents of Rwanganga village in Kigumo constituency, Murang'a County, are demanding justice for a 13-year-old girl who was allegedly defiled and impregnated. Now, according to the residents, the authorities failed to act in time despite repeated reports of the girl's woes. They are now demanding the arrest and prosecution of the perpetrators. The mother of the teenager has since been picked up by police for questioning amid claims her lover was responsible for defiling and impregnating her.
Rwanganga village, Kahumbu ward in Kigumo constituency. Irate residents held demonstrations demanding justice for the minor who is currently at a rescue center.
Nasikia vibaya sana juu ya huyu mtoto. Juu hata wakati tulifanya maandamano mara ya kwanza, tuliita chief, tukampigia simu kutoka saa 2 asubuhi na hadi saa 11, saa 12 ndio alifika. Saa zile tulimuuliza kwa nini tulimuita na tumekaa hapo sana. Hata huyo mama tulikuwa na yeye alisema hatuwezi kumfundisha kazi.
According to the residents, the girl's mother, a 35-year-old woman, had allegedly neglected and exposed her 13-year-old daughter to sexual exploitation. They further faulted Kigumo's Children's Office of failing to act expeditiously to rescue the girl despite several reports.
Tangu hii maneno ifanyike, walijua hii maneno imefanyika kama miezi 2 ambayo iliyopita. Kuna wanaume 3 ambao wamehusika na kumnajisi, na pili makosa ya mamake kuficha hawa wanajisi. Kwa hivyo wote watu wako na hatia wakiwa 4.
The residents say the 13-year-old girl had assumed the responsibility for caring for her 3 younger siblings due to her mother's alleged neglect.
Nataka serikali tusaidie ndio huyu mtoto apate haki. Tumejaribu kutafuta chief na maandamano na mzee wa kijiji akatusupport akatuitia chief, lakini chief hatukujua venye aliendelea. Juu hakutuambia chochote.
They claim the mother frequented local drinking dens, leaving her to provide for the family.
Sasa hii area yetu imeharibika juu ya kunywaji wa pombe. Pombe ndio mingi huku. Watu hawashughuliki na watoto. Tunataka children's officer wakuje hapa wachunge hawa watoto.
3 suspects accused of defiling the minor are on the run. Her mother is being held for questioning.
The government has moved to strengthen child protection systems across the country in the wake of the tragic fire incident at Utumishi Girls Academy last week, where 16 students lost their lives. Now, Principal Secretary for Children's Services, CPA Karen Angengo, says that the tragedy exposed deep gaps in child safety, mental health support, and early warning mechanisms within schools, prompting urgent reforms to the National Child Helpline 116.
Speaking during a stakeholders briefing meeting in Nairobi, the Principal Secretary, CPA Karen Angengo, termed the Utumishi Girls Academy fire tragedy a timely reminder on the urgent need for stronger child protection and early intervention systems in the country.
If we have a helpline in place that can serve the whole of this country, the children of this nation, probably we would also avoid what has happened.
The PS said the incident is part of a broader pattern of emerging child protection challenges, especially within learning institutions where emotional distress, strained relationships and mental health struggles are increasingly being reported. The PS announced that to avert further tragedies, the government is working to transform the National Child Helpline 116 into a fully fledged National Child Protection Contact Center.
It's not just you call and then you're transferred to somebody. It is a call, a helpline that will provide counseling services. So we have staff there who are counselors.
As the board of Childline Kenya, I'd like to reiterate our commitment to be part of this process in terms of mobilizing resources, contributing to strong governance systems and also accountability.
Now, to matters health now, Kenya's healthcare workforce is facing a growing mental health crisis. A new study by the Aga Khan University a Brain and Mind Institute reveals that more than 4 in every 10 healthcare workers are experiencing symptoms of depression, raising concerns about the well-being of frontline medical staff and the resilience of the country's health system. Here's more.
New findings from the Aga Khan University Brain and Mind Institute paint a concerning picture of the mental health challenges facing healthcare workers in Kenya.
We wanted to actually understand what makes the health workers work optimally, work the best.
This study had 2 aspects to it. One, to test new methodologies and how we can use technology to actually define mental health.
Conducted over a 12-month period across 5 hospitals in Nairobi, the research gathered data from 514 healthcare workers. The study, known as Uzima Data Science Study, found that 43.1% of healthcare workers surveyed reported experiencing depressive symptoms. 16.9% of respondents experienced moderately severe depressive symptoms, while 5.5% reported severe symptoms.
People who reported having high symptoms of depression also reported medication errors. So that, like a doctor who's prescribing medication, when they come back and check later, they find that they made a mistake.
Younger healthcare workers and those early in their careers were found to be particularly vulnerable. Researchers say the findings show that mental health challenges among healthcare workers are driven by, among others, workplace stress, organizational culture, discrimination, and limited support systems.
That people who tended to have a lot of depression also indicated that they had workplace discrimination. So this was associated very closely.
The study also identified opportunities for intervention, with many healthcare workers expressing willingness to use digital mental health tools such as mobile applications and wearable technologies for monitoring and support.
Systems should be put in place to help the healthcare workers seek help when they feel overwhelmed. They don't have to feel stigmatized at workplace because of one issue or another.
Now we shift gears to other issues now. President William Ruto says the 750-kilometer Isiolo-Mandera road under construction in the north will soon become a reality. He was speaking while inspecting the Tabarbaj-Kotulo stretch of the road. At the same time, he told of his critics, saying his development track record speaks for itself. The president maintained he will push for more resources to northern Kenya to ensure he corrects historical injustices and marginalization of the region. President William Ruto on Tuesday completed his 3-day walking tour in Wajir County. The head of state inspected the Wajir Tarbaj-Kotulo road that is part of the highly popularized 750-kilometer Isiolo-Mandera road. He said the road project, dubbed the Horn of Africa Gateway Development, is expected to cost 100 billion Kenyan shillings and will open up the north for development.
Hii barabara nimekuja kuangalia na macho yangu, kwa sababu propaganda ni nyingi, kwa sababu siasa chafu ni nyingi, kwa sababu matapeli ni wengi. Wale wanasema hakuna kitu inafanyika, wale wanasema haitawezekana. lakini tunasema inshallah Mungu atatujalia hii barabara itajengwa na Northern Kenya itabadilika.
Wakasema it's a false promise, ni uongo, it will not happen. It has happened. Imekuwa, barabara ndio hii inaendelea.
Hawajawachwa nyuma.
He later launched the construction of a 580-bed elders teaching training college, students' hostels, and commissioned elders water supply project before heading to Garissa, where he launched Malimin mini grid in Lagdera. The president reiterating his commitment to ensure Northeastern region gets a fair share of the national cake.
Na tunajenga barabara hapa kwa sababu ni haki ya watu wa Northern Kenya, kwa sababu hii ni sehemu ya taifa letu la Kenya, and we are one people with a common destiny.
Serikali ya hasla ndio ilikuja Wajia Orehe grounds ikatoa ile kitu ya ubaguzi ambayo jamii ya Wasomali na Waislamu walikuwa wanaambiwa mkitaka ID na pasipoti na birth certificate, ili mtoto Mjaluo, mtoto Mkikuyu, mtoto Msomali na Mkalenjin na Wakenya wakuwe sawa.
He used the occasion to popularize his re-election campaign in the 2027 general elections, faulting the opposition of spreading propaganda and empty political rhetoric.
Wengine walikuwa wananikejeli ati mimi na I'm building the road to nowhere. Mimi nataka niwaambie Northern Kenya is not nowhere. Northern Kenya is Kenya.
Alipoanza kuimba mambo ya Isiolo, Kulamawe, Madogashe, Samatar, Wajia, Kutulo, paka Mandera, wakora walianza kucheza kwa TikTok.
He also challenged the region to ensure their children go to school as well as enroll for SHA. Now let's take you to county news. The Green Belt movement is raising alarm over what it says are plans to excise parts of Uhuru Park and Central Park for the expansion of Uhuru Highway. In a statement, the environmentalists are calling on the Kenya National Highway Authority, Nairobi City County Government, and the National Land Commission and the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, to publicly disclose if there are plans and any approvals for the said works. More details in the county news roundup.
The Greenbelt movement are demanding the government agencies pronounce themselves on the matter and ensure full public scrutiny, strict legal compliance, comprehensive environmental assessment, and meaningful public participation before embarking on the road expansion project. At the same time, they called on citizens to remain vigilant and hold the government accountable. Elsewhere, Busia County Governor Paul Otuoma and his deputy have assured residents adequate measures are in place to prevent the spread of the Ebola virus in the county, which is considered a high-risk area owing to its proximity to the border.
Hapa kama serikali ya Busia County already tumedeploy teams kwa hizi mipaka zote. Tumeweka teams pale, nimewaeleza tuweke pesa kidogo tuweze kufacilitate our community health workers waweze command across the whole border so that at least we do better screening and then have an isolation.
And Mining Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho has warned Ministry of Mining officials against illegal issuance of mining licenses. Speaking in Machakos County, Joho condemned the practice, saying it denies county governments and the national government its revenue.
Are supposed to report in that line. Pika kwa bosi yako, paka ifike kwa Hari, ifike kwangu. That's how this ministry is supposed to work. Sitaki kusikia story ya kwamba kuna watu sijui alipigiwa simu na nani mwingine outside your normal channel. And I want you to hear me clearly on that.
And finally, Teachers Union in Embu County have condemned what they term increasing political interference in school management. This follows a standoff at Bakita Siakago Girls High School between Mbeere North MP Leonard Wamudende and Kupet and NAT officials.
It is actually a wonder to us as women, teachers, in whose hands are we safe? If in the hands of an elected member of parliament, we only find intimidation, humiliation, harassment, embarrassment, and bullying. To our Member of Parliament, I wish to kindly ask you to revisit the advice of your advisors.
Some cereals in the market have high levels of aflatoxin contamination, which is posing food safety and public health risk. Now, Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization KALRO Director General Patrick Akatiem says samples collected from some markets showed contamination levels exceeding recommended safety standards.
The Kenya Bureau of Standards say it is stepping up surveillance on food sold in local markets to tackle the sale of contaminated produce and ensure that products sold in Kenya meet safety standards.
If it is not safe, it is not the food. And this is the message that we want everybody to have, because this is a shared responsibility that you should not trend.
The enhanced surveillance is expected to tackle cases of food contamination, with the Kenya Agriculture, Livestock and Research Organization indicating that some samples that were tested had contamination levels of up to 500 parts per billion, against the required 10 parts per billion.
The only acceptable limit by World Health Organization is 10. So the story which you just hear, it's only 10. By the way, if you pass 10, it can be accepted. But in our Kenya markets, we are selling up to 500, 400. It's a range. If you get a good one, possibly you get 500, 400.
They are challenging cereal retailers to step up testing of products on their shelves.
We need the consumers to be more demanding, to ask the right questions in the market. Where was this food grown? What chemicals were used on it? How was it handled as it came to the market, so that we ensure the continuity of that food through the market.
Small-scale traders and farmers are concerned about the cost of testing services.
Cost of food safety testing remains prohibitive for most smallholder farmers.
They say proper food handling is key in reducing contamination.
There is more need to create awareness to ensure that the population understands really the burden that we are facing because of unsafe food.
They were speaking in Nairobi during the annual World Food Safety Day celebrations.
In our matters sports now, World Football Governing Body FIFA has reiterated its commitment to mediating the leadership wrangles bedeviling Football Kenya Federation FKF. The wrangles pits FKF President Hussein Mohamed against his deputy McDonald Mariga and 9 other FKF National Executive Committee members, following the move by the latter to oust the president. Hussein, however, got a reprieve after FIFA rejected his suspension, citing the contravention of Article 41 of FKF Constitution, which spells out how officials can be suspended or dismissed. In a letter addressed to FKF on Tuesday and signed by FIFA governance team, lead Ahmed Haraz, the World Governing Body, indicated that it is set to convene a joint meeting between the FKF and Confederation of Africa Football CAF officials after June 18th. FIFA also called on the FKF NEC members to refrain from convening other meetings until the joint meeting is held. And I'm told by my director, Matu, that's where we end our news coverage for now. My name is Giverson Maina. Of course, the show continues on the other side with Victor Olo. But before that, a short commercial break.
Kawia ufiki, mimi sina haraka, bora kazi ifanye, lakini hata Waswahili wanasema kawia ufiki.
Atukatai.
Labe?
Za chakula.
Yaani, watu tumepesa ngapi kwa siku?
Sijui kadiri yake mimi.
Kwa mwalimu?
Sijui. Hebu niambie.
Kwa kweli?
Wakimtama wanadona ama wadoni.
Mambo alionipata cha kawaida.
Unafuatia nini huku? Ati ile jina la Leso, nani anataka subira anataka. Ile jina la Leso ile.
Tena mpe haraka aondoke hapa.
Bandu inamaliza gogo.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Since 2017, the company has been owned by a Chinese parent group based in Sichuan, while maintaining its manufacturing.
All right, welcome back. It's now 5 minutes past 7 a.m. We're waiting for Deputy Governor of Kakamega County, that is Ayub Savula. We talk about the Mulembe factor, where it's all about 2027 general elections. We want to have that one-on-one. He's running slightly late, but let me start with the front page of the local dailies before we get to the discussion. On the front page of the Daily Nation, Ruto, I allowed US to bring Ebola patients. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. President William Ruto says that he allowed US to bring Ebola patients. That is on the front page. He is now owning up to the president says that he acknowledges he accepted the request by President Donald Trump for Kenya to host a quarantine and treatment facility for Americans exposed to Ebola at Laikipia Air Base in Nanyuki, even as public opposition to plan to grow. And that is, this also comes at the backdrop of a court order where High Court extends orders blocking the setting up of the Ebola isolation unit and admission into Kenya of persons exposed to or infected with the Ebola virus. State is also directed to make public the secret agreement with the U.S. So is it a case of a little bit too little too late? Where U.S. officials now says that Saturday's court decree came as flight carrying American specialists and kits were airborne and confirms foundation works on Ebola unit. That is on the front page of that. And of course, there were some chaos and demonstrations in Laikipia over the weekend where 2 people are now confirmed dead. Okay, so that is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Another story of some good significance here is that Utumishi fire tragedy, where the court to decide on the fate of 9 students today. They appeared before a Naivasha court. Police seek 30 more days to analyze CCTV footage, forensic reports, and witness statements after dormitory fire. 9 from 3 students remain in custody pending ruling, which is going to happen today. The court will decide whether they will be detained for 30 more days or they'll be released on cash bail or bond. The girls appeared before the Chief Magistrate Court in Naivasha on Tuesday after spending 3 nights in police custody following their arrest on Friday last week. The prosecution is seeking orders to detain them for further 30 days to allow investigation, or rather investigators to conclude inquiries into the fire that killed 16 students. So that is a developing story that will be taken care of today. Lawmakers now call for review on boarding school model. This has been a debate for quite some time, even from the education sector, and they say that teachers or even this education system in Kenya should be overhauled to allow for the boarding school. Remember, this is a system that has been here for time immemorial. Members of Parliament have now called for a review of boarding schools and the government's 100% transition policy following the fire tragedy at Utumishi Girls Academy in Gilgil that claimed the lives of 16 learners. This is one of them. Kisii woman representative, that is Doris Donya, said that the country should reconsider the boarding schools model, arguing that many of the tragedies affecting learners occur within or around such institutions. It's a debate that has been there for quite some time, whether to abolish boarding schools in its entirety or do a review or scale up the boarding school system in the country. Why indirect contribution? This is a very interesting here. Why indirect contribution now count as matrimonial property? Okay. Listen to this. The court has now ruled that a woman only identified as NNS who used her salary to meet household expenses was entitled to part of matrimonial assets. Okay. This is because the court further noted that the documents presented by the woman as evidence demonstrating how the couple managed their household budget confirmed that she made an indirect contribution by using her salary to meet family expenses. And in effect, the court ruled that she made an indirect contribution, monetary contribution, to the acquisition of the property by making her salary available to meet other family expenses. The court further agreed that with her assertion that this enabled the man to grow his savings and repay the loans taken. This is also because during that time, their contribution led to acquisition of two properties. That's one in Trans Nzoia and another one in Tana River. And so the court ruled that she made an indirect contribution. So the court held that although the plaintiff's contribution was proved, it did not equal to that of the defendant, that is, that of the husband. And accordingly, the court declared that the property's matrimonial property and affirmed a 30-70 ratio distribution. All right, so the woman was to get 1.1 million shillings as compensation, being part of a 30% share contribution towards the construction of their matrimonial house. This is going to raise a lot of concern when it comes to when the dissolution of marriage and divorces. Many say that women normally walk away empty-handed after that union, and now this is just going to create a new precedence all over that is going to change the landscape of the marriage. So if you contribute in the growth of your marriage, then the court has now ruled that you contributed indirectly to the growth of that marriage. Ruto now owns up to allowing U.S. Ebola patients into Kenya. The president was actually speaking in Wajir with the journalists. On the back of public protest in Nanyuki and Nairobi against the plan, the president insists that Kenya has the capacity to handle the deadly disease that has no vaccine yet. On the back of public, that is the president, and after initially avoiding the controversial matter during his Madaraka Day address in Wajir County on Sunday, the president later that night, and in a statement posted on his social media handle yesterday morning, defended the quarantine arrangement that Dr. William Ruto said that he personally approved a request by Washington to establish the facility at the military establishment in Nanyuki. So the president said that when President Donald Trump asked the government of Kenya to support them by having a center in Laikipia Air Base, he gave an okay for that to happen. On the front page of the Star, why Somali vote shaping as a game changer in Ruto 2027 two-term bid. Why Somali vote shaping as a game changer in Ruto 2027 two-term bid. President has employed multi-pronged tactic to woo the region. And now that is one of the tactics. The story continues on page 4 and page 5 of the Star newspaper. That is on here. The court will also rule on Utumishi 9 probe team's time appeal. They will be appearing before the Naivasha court today to decide whether they'll be detained for 30 more days or otherwise. And of course, there was heavy presence of police yesterday at the facility there, when the case was mentioned. 9 in court over Dome Blaze. Prosecution seeking to detain the students for 30 days pending investigation. And that is on the front page of the Star newspaper. Why Northeastern is a game changer in Ruto's bid for 2027. That is a good read there, fleshed out there for you on page 4 and page 5, an entire page. And there are reasons. Ruto's key projects on Northeastern, quite highlighted there. According to the Star, illustrated close to 12 of them. There are 100 billion, 750 kilometer Isiolo-Wajir, Mandera Highway, the national ID reforms. One of them is Wajir University, New Public University pledged for Wajir, etc., etc. And they say that the northern part of it is going to be a game changer. I'll ask Deputy Governor Ayub Savula to tell us his thought on that. And finally, on the front page of the Standard, take them home. That is on the front page of the Standard. Take them home with regards to the Ebola case. Some of America's leading public health experts have now joined growing criticism on the Ebola quarantine center in Kenya as the opposition, courts and activists step up their resistance. Former CDC officials, infectious disease physicians and epidemiologists have now warned U.S. leaders that sending Ebola-exposed Americans to Laikipia would be a dangerous break from long-standing medical practice, raising profound clinical, ethical, and operational and legal concerns. That is on the front page of the Standard. All right, so getting into it, very fast, Mheshimiwa Ayub Savula, good morning.
Morning.
It's 9 months since we had this discussion. Same seat, same seat. Karibu sana.
Asante.
You're a busy man.
Not very busy.
You are.
Only weekends, weekdays I do business.
Right. How have you been?
I've been okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How is Kakamega so far?
Kakamega is quiet.
Yes.
We had a good holiday. Now we are back to work.
Karibu sana. Let me start by asking you, on the front page of the Star, what do you make of this? Why Somali vote shaping as a game changer in Ruto's 2027 bid? Your take on this?
Ruto is consolidating regions to gain maximum votes. And I can assure you,
yes,
in the absence of Raila Amolo Odinga on the ballot, the votes in the northern part of the country which used to go to Raila Amolo Odinga, they will automatically be captured by Ruto.
Automatically. Why so? We have got so many contestants coming up for the 2027 general election.
Those are busybodies and noisemakers. There's no one who can beat Ruto in the next general election. Completely.
You have a strong conviction.
Yeah, I have very strong conviction. Because I'm an experienced politician. I've been elected 3 times without failing. I understand politics of the Republic of Kenya very clear. The ones who are shouting one time are wasting time.
Which is okay anyway.
Yes, there is a democratic right, but they are wasting their time. If you look at the calculations,
right,
Ruto will come up with the Rift Valley as a block. Ruto has penetrated Northeastern, has made up a campaign team led by Honorable Duale. Ruto has penetrated Nyanza. There's a team led by Oburu Gladys Wanga. And those are strongholds of Baba.
Yes.
Ruto has penetrated Western Province. The team led by Lusaka and me. a team led by Wetangula and Mudavadi. And there's another team led by Oparanya. Ruto has already penetrated Coast. There's a team led by Joho, another team led by Hassan Omar and Mvuria. So he's consolidating the regular basis. So when we are supporting Raila, we used to say 10 million strong.
Right.
Where are we going to take the 10 million strong? Minus Babu on the ballot. So from Northeastern, Western, Rift Valley, Coast, Nyanza, we are all consolidating our votes behind William Ruto. And there's no question about it. If you look at Kalonzo, he only gets the tribal votes, the Kamba, the 3 counties, Kitui, Machakos, and Makueni. And that is period.
Yeah.
No else. Then you look at Rigiji. He has no footprint in Western. He has no footprint in Northeastern. He has no footprint in Nyanza. He has no footprint at the coast. He's only talking about Murima. Murima is a tribal chauvinist who should never be voted in a national office like the presidency office. Then who else? Matiang'i. He controls a few Kisi votes, which are not even more than 500,000. So where will he attract the rest of the country? Then tell me, Martha Karua, in her own polling station, Raila did not even secure 10 votes. So she's not a serious presidential contender.
Yeah.
So Ruto will win by landslide.
Ruto will win by landslide?
By landslide.
You've given a clear background of all these contestants and what you make of them. Is it the reason why you pledged 2.6 million votes from Western region? It has been elusive for a very long time.
No, we have been voting for Raila.
Right.
We have been giving him total numbers in that region. And I gave the figure of 2.6 million because that is per the 2022 general election. But now we are focused on registering another 1.4. So we will have a total of 4 million votes which we're going to give William Ruto.
I don't know how possible that is going to be.
It's possible because of what he has done in Western region.
You can prove that?
Yeah, I can prove that. With figures. Look at level 6 hospital.
Right.
It's being completed at a cost of 1.2 billion. That is the first level 6 hospital in Western Kenya. The Hungu Stadium is being completed. Look at the roads. C44 from Lurambi to Bungoma. It's being done. Look at Tarbo, Sikhendu Road. It's being done.
Yes.
Tamak. The airstrip is being done. How affordable houses, they're being done. We have so many development programs in that region that you've never seen since independence. So we reciprocate by giving our votes to William.
What is the general feeling on the ground? I mean, you've highlighted the development project, which is very okay, Mheshimiwa, but what is the general feeling?
The general feeling is that proximity to power is power. After Ruto, because from Ruto's house to my house is 7 minutes, just across Tarbo. He borders Lugari constituency, he borders Likuyani, he borders Malava constituency. He's married in Likuyani, in Luyaland. So why can't we give our in-law our votes? So we are going to vote for Ruto, and Ruto should reciprocate in 2032 by supporting Aluya for presidency.
Wait. So what I'm trying to get is, your main focus is 2032.
2032. We are not even interested in deputy presidency.
Then why don't you mobilize yourselves and field somebody in 2027, therefore? You have got strong men and women from the Luyaland.
Who should we field? Tell us.
You had a caucus last week. Members of Parliament had a caucus last week, met in Naivasha.
Yes. I was there. They brought the suggestion of having a deputy president, but that should not be our focus. We have had Musalia, we have had Michael Kijana Amalo, we have had Moody Awori, we have not seen any change. Let us focus on attracting development in the region, then we focus on getting the president in 2032. We convinced Ruto we are giving you our votes as a block, because we are the second largest community in this country. It's not just Western Kenya population, but we are already in Nairobi, we are in Nakuru, we are in Mombasa, we are the majority.
So what is the game plan then? Because if the president is not going to be there in 2032, then you should be focusing more on 2027 to fill the presidential running mate.
No. Running mate does not necessarily mean that he'll be the president. Ruto is the only first running mate who has made it to president.
Yes.
We have had Musalia. Did he become a president? No. We had Michael Kijana Amalo, unfortunately died. We have had Moody Awori.
But that was a game changer during the late Wamala Kijana. That was a game changer.
It was a game changer. That was the opportunity where Luyas were going to secure the presidency. But now we lost that opportunity. We are now focusing on 2032 opportunity. For now, we are going to give Ruto a second term because of the development has done in that region. Then now we groom one of our own for 2032.
In exchange of what? 2027 in exchange of what?
For presidency in 2032. Yeah, because the Rift Valley block is huge. Uhuru depended on Rift Valley block to make it to presidency. He combined Rift Valley and Central to become a president. So if you combine the Western Kenya and the Rift Valley and we negotiate with other tribes, it will be easy for us to take the presidency. Yes.
And why was Mheshimiwa's Wetangula's name being floated as a deputy president come 2027?
Those are local politics which I don't want to discuss.
Kenyans would want to know. It's a matter of national interest, Mheshimiwa.
I'm focused because our team is focused on delivering William Ruto for presidency. And our mandate is to campaign for Ruto. We deliver him for 2027 and 2032. We negotiate with him to give us a Rift Valley block. Even the ODM have dropped their demand for the DP slot. Gladys Wanga is going back to defend her seat in Homa Bay. Oburu is going to defend his seat, the Senate seat in...
Wait, Mheshimiwa. Yes. So will you expect Mheshimiwa William Ruto come 2027 to campaign for you and to deliver Rift Valley to Western?
You know, politics of this country is about blocks.
Yes.
Ruto will still be controlling the Rift Valley block after even he retires as a president in 2032. Yeah. Because he's still politically strong.
But you have a problem with Uhuru Kenyatta?
We have a problem with Uhuru Kenyatta because the Retirement Benefit Act for retired president specifically says after 6 months after you have handed over the office, you are not supposed to be engaged in active politics. He's supposed even to relinquish his position as Jubilee Party leader because it contravenes the Retirement Benefits Act of the retired president. And Parliament, if it's serious, Parliament can stop the benefit for the president because he's still actively engaged in politics. What you are saying, Ruto will convince his community to back us, but he will not be involved in active politics.
That is the same thing as...
It's not the same thing.
That is the same thing as Uhuru Kenyatta trying to convince...
Uhuru is still the chairman of Jubilee, the party leader of Jubilee. By that time, Ruto will not be the party leader over.
So even if he quits being the party leader...
If you quit being the party leader, you are not actively involved in politics. If you attend a church service, you make remarks, you are just within the confines of the Constitution. Freedom of speech, freedom of association.
Right.
But if you still hold a party office, you're contravening the Retirement Benefit Act for retired presidents. Yeah, 6 months after handing over the office, you're supposed to...
You know, politics is very fluid, Mheshimiwa Sabula. Yes. Politics again is very fluid. And come 2032, something will change. And you'll say that President is retired, something will come up, and you'll say President William Ruto. I'm saying this because you've been shifting political positions, you know, from UDA, you move to ODM, to ANC, to DAP.
I'm very consistent in politics. In 2013, I won the Lugari Member of Parliament seat on UDF ticket.
Yes.
In 2017, I joined ANC. I became National Deputy Party Leader to Musalia, and I retained the seat on ANC ticket. I shift to the ground. In 2022, I formed a coalition with Baraza as a Deputy Party Leader of DAP.
Yes.
And he was in ODM. So we shared the government. The government of Kakamega is a coalition government. It's not like any other county in this country. That is the only first county where we have a coalition government. I was elected on DAP, he was elected on ODM. So I don't shift political goalposts every time. I go with what is on the ground. I was attracted to UDA because of the development programs Ruto has initiated in Kakamega County. And I can read for you some of the projects.
Go ahead.
Let me just open my database for the projects. I have a database of projects that
okay.
Yes, one
because as you talk about that, because I asked the question about your position with from the DAPK, you move to UDA, and now somebody will say that, would that be a policy of ideological shift, or is just but a matter of political survival tactic?
It's not political survival. If it's political survival, I would have gone to opposition, where you win by the wave. You are not subjected to accountability. You just go and say, Mimi Nisifuna, then people clap for you. But now, me, I'm a principal fella. I joined UDA because of the following. And in Lurambe constituency, we are completing Kakamega County Referral Hospital at a cost of 500 million. In Likuyani constituency, we have put an industrial park at a cost of 481 million. And those are joint national and county government projects. In Lurambe, again, we have done affordable houses. We gave land. The construction was done by national government at a cost of 472 million. In Lugari constituency, there is a French school, Chevayo, dormitories that are being done at 155 million. In Butere constituency, we have construction of Lunza ESP market at a cost of 64 million. We have construction of Panpepa market in Lugari at 53 million. In Navaholo, we have construction of ESP market in Muregu at 147 million. In Navaholo also, we have Sisoche market at 113 million. In Ikolomani, we have Shisele at 113 million. In Malava, we have construction of Haunga market at 113 million. In Lugari, we have construction of Chekalini at 113 million. In Butere, we have construction of Butere at 128 million market. In Huisero, we have Huisero at 55 million. In Lurambi, we have upgrading to bitumen standard, that road I've talked about, at 2 billion. In Lugari, Turbo, we have upgrading to bitumen standard, that Turbo Secondary road I've just talked about, at a cost of 3.6 billion. We have Kongoni market at 73 million. We have grading of Mumias town to Musanda at 628 million. And this one is almost complete. Yes. Almost complete. We have Navaholo, Musikoma Road at a cost of 2 billion. We have upgrade of Malava, upgrade of to between Malava, Samiti Road at a cost of 1.6 billion. We have the database, Lugari, Majengo Road, 414 million.
Seems this is a long list. It's a long list.
I have done research, I have the details, and I've been attracted to UDA because of performance of Ruto on the ground.
Let's take a break. When you come back, I want to talk still more. You said that mutajaza kikapu liwe liwalo.
Yes, tutajaza. Hiyo kura ya Raila ilikuwa inaenda wapi? Hiyo ndio itajaza. He's not there.
Politicians just politicians.
No, I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. I do politics as a hobby.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
In regards to General Tao's accident, we constables feel great sadness. Starting from this day, you are the new Requiem General of this street. You'll decide the rules of Rakshasa Street.
Those who die here shall remain in Ghost Town forever.
Not only can he help you, he's the only one who can help you.
Justin! Yes. Vijana na Justin. Kabisa.
Na nisikusikie ukiongea vibaya kuhusu mchungaji ama mtumishi wa Mungu.
Unaenda kanisa? Kama unaenda kanisa. Unajua yeye anaweza kulani wewe Josh wewe.
Kuna mtu mwingine unadanganya kwa hiki kijiji.
Neno litasimama. Basi inatuombe.
Nikusaidie vipi? Mr. Andrew hapa ni kama babangu. Nimetembea na mgeni. Titu dakika moja.
Tumekuja kukualika hiyo event ya Jumamosi.
Nikuje kukula tu, alafu baadaye nisipigie Andrew kura.
If you have a minute to spare, tunaweza rudi ndani tusemezane kidogo.
The bottom-up economic transformation agenda is not just a plan on paper.
Manifesto tulioandika na tukauzia Wakenya na wakatupigia kura, sio gazeti ya kufunga nyama.
It is happening on the ground across Kenya.
Enda subabogi Moriega Jodhuru wauntie Mugani Hamjambo.
In agriculture,
Turkana wameamkia mambo ya ukulima sasa.
On our roads,
Lami black anaingia hapa anagausha hapa, wacha bana.
In health,
all our patients are in SHA 100%.
In housing,
kutoa watu kutoka nyumba za mabati kuleta nyumba kama hii ya ghorofa ni kitu mzuri sana.
In our markets,
umetukumbuka sisi mama mboga, shida zetu umezitatua,
and so much more.
It's a good thing the government inakuja mashinani na this is all what we have been requesting.
This is transformation. This is impact. This is delivering the plan. Every Friday on KBC Channel 1.
And welcome back. We are having this discussion with Deputy Governor of Kakamega County, that is Mheshimiwa Ayub Savula, who says that he is quite consistent in political journey. Mheshimiwa, let's just come back and talk about the call for unity. And if you look at that, the Mulembe factor, how is Mulembe factor going to be a big issue come 2027? Because you are talking about Baba's votes. Meuliza walikuwa naenda wapi?
We used to vote for Baba. And now we'll go to Ruto. Yeah. And we're not just talking about the Luya community alone. We have the Sabots in Mount Elgon, and we have the Tesos who occupy 2 constituencies.
Yes.
In Busia County. So we are consolidating the Western Kenya region for Ruto. Because Baba is not there. And Baba left us in government. Yeah. So where will you go? How do you leave government? You're going to opposition. Unless you are a madman. You go to an election to form a government.
Who is a kingpin?
Huh?
Who is a kingpin?
We don't have a kingpin now. We have national leaders and we have county leaders. National leaders is Wetangula, Musalia, and Oparanya. Then we have county leaders who are governors, May, and the coordinators for the president in that region. We don't have a kingpin. Yeah. And we don't have politics of kingpin. If it happens that 2032 we need a candidate, we'll subject whoever wants to be president from the Luo community to a joint nomination.
Yes.
Then we get one candidate to run for presidency. Because if you say you select Wetangula, the Musalia people will get annoyed. If you say you select Musalia, the Oparanya people will get annoyed. So we'll subject everyone to nomination, and I'll also be involved in that nomination. So we have one presidential candidate from the Luo community. Yeah.
It has never been that easy.
It has never been that easy. The only man who managed to consolidate all the community behind him was Michael Kijana Amalo when he was running as a running mate to Mwai Kibaki. And he managed to floor everybody in that region, including Musalia, who was the vice president at that time. He floored him. Musalia was beaten by a branch manager of a bank, a Karang, for member of parliament position. And he was a vice president at that moment. Yeah.
What is your relationship with Mheshimiwa Wamalwa, Eugene?
Eugene has been my party boss, and we relate well. I met him last week. We were in a funeral in Navaholo.
Yes.
And I challenged him. Tell us your end game. If you want to be a presidential candidate, announce, declare now. So we can start analyzing you against William Ruto, who is stronger than the other. And I told him, as things stand now, William Ruto is stronger than all of you. Even if we come united opposition, he will beat you clean. If Ruto managed to beat Uhuru, when Uhuru was a president, he has the military, he has the police, he has central bank, all the money. He was a sitting president. Raila had people. Raila was a millionaire of people. And the Moi family. Ruto, within one stroke of the vote, 2022, he sent home 3 dynasties. Kibaki, the Raila dynasty, home. Kenyatta dynasty, home. The Moi dynasty, home. A boy from the bush, sending 3 dynasty home forever. What are these other jokers? Rigiji. Total joke. My mono. It's a total joker. Tribal kingpin. Wetango, Kalonzo Musyoka. Total joker. Wamalwa. Where is he heading to? Where is he heading to?
You know this, that elections in Kenya, being a presidential candidate or being a president of this country is not a matter of ballot box. It's a matter of boardroom affair.
It's not about boardroom affair. It's how you manage to marshal the support from the grassroots. Ruto is the only president in this country who has stepped in all the wards in this country, all the wards. In Kakamega, has stepped in all the 60 wards during his campaign period. Kalonzo does not know where Cholera ward is. Rigiji does not know where Kisa West is. Yes. As we speak today, and is a presidential candidate. Martha Karua does not know where Mautuma ward is as we speak now. You tell Martha Karua, go and look for Mautuma ward. Ruto has stepped in all those wards. The political intelligence of William Ruto is so high. If Museveni can win an election with over 70%, always. A new lady in the political arena in national politics. She has been elected in Tanga, in Zanzibar. She became a deputy president. Then she became a president. Yeah. She has never appeared on a national ballot box here in Tanzania. And she won election with 97%. What are you telling me about Ruto? Boy. Okay. You don't know who you're dealing with. Okay. The boy is rude politically. At the campaign time, you see the true colors of William Ruto. I'm quite interested. I pity those guys who say one term, they don't know him. But this is a man, which is okay. This is a man who joined politics in 1997. When Kalonzo Musyoka was a minister. This is a man who left university 1993. When Kalonzo Musyoka was a minister. He joined politics in 1997. And from 1997, Eldoret North he won first time. He went back Eldoret North, he won second time. He never lost any election. He went back to Eldoret North, he won the third time. He became a minister for agriculture. The fourth time he became deputy president. Fifth time deputy president, and sixth time president. Tell me a politician who was that career of winning streak like that in Kenya. No one. Okay. So Ruto will be competing against himself. The election will be Ruto versus William.
Perhaps that is the reason why I'm asking you the question of you shifting alliances. Yes. From one political party to the next, which is quite synonymous with the politicians in this country.
Me, I'm not a politician. I'm your colleague. I'm a journalist. I read science. I've read for you the data in Western, how things will go.
You left us, Mheshimiwa. You left us in the news.
No. Once a journalist, you're still a journalist. Still a journalist. I understand politics clearly.
Yes.
I cannot go to Western and start saying, Ati, mimi ndio Sifuna. So what is the end game? Will Sifuna be on the ballot? I'm just asking you, which political party? I don't know. We are remaining with 1 year, 2 months to the election. For you to be a solid presidential candidate, you must have prepared.
And you know that being in politics is like
5 years before. Yeah, right? You're going to a war.
You don't have to show your opponent your next move.
No.
Otherwise they'll crush you.
No. Which military does he have? Political military. You look at Western Kenya, we have Musalia, Oparanya, Wetangula, Savula, Lusaka, the entire team and all governors from that region for William Ruto.
What do you want as a person? What do you want as a person?
No, I don't disclose my next political step.
And you
until December 20. 26.
Very good.
I declare when election. I'm still the deputy governor of Kakamega. I cannot be looking for another office when I'm still.
I hear you, sir. But here you want Sifuna to declare. You want Eugene to declare. The rest of the united opposition to declare their positions. But
because that's a national position. That's a national. You need to be everywhere.
All of them are elected
Kakamega County is a small thing. It's just a small thing.
On.
60 constituencies, 12 constituencies. I can move in 12 constituencies in a day. When you have a chopper, you can do 12 events in a day. Kenya is not Kakamega County. Kenya is not Nairobi County. Nairobi County you can move in a day. It's a very small county, Nairobi. It's only that it's densely populated. Kenya is not. Who knows Sifuna in Northeastern? Apart from the TV.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
There is this discontent with the old guard and the new emergence of the new faces. The likes of Sifuna talking about the Tawi movement that you're so much opposed about.
Tawi movement died.
You were so much opposed to that.
Yes, we killed it. Because after the Malava by-election, Tawi movement was strong during the Malava by-election. Natembeya had made inroads in the Luya community. But we consolidated our effort behind our candidate Ndakwa, and we won on UDA ticket.
Yes.
The subsequent by-election, that's the civic one, where Ndakwa was an MCA, we went back and won on UDA ticket. So once we won the two serious position in Malava constituency, we automatically killed Tawi. And have you ever heard Natembeya talk about Tawi since Malava by-election? Just tell me an incident where Natembeya said Tawi after Malava by-election. He went silent. He got a political shock. He was admitted in Trans Nzoia Referral Hospital, political hospital there.
Political hospital?
Yes.
What's happening in the Western region is quite interesting, because when you listen to what C.S. Oparanya said the other day, people would interpret that he wants to come back to the political arena. He's not comfortable with the national executive position.
He has not told me he wants to join politics. There's a time when it was rumored that he was going for Senate position.
In Kakamega?
In Kakamega. Right. So I asked him as my friend, are you going for Senate? No, I have not announced. I have not announced anything. But generally, Oparanya is a politician. He has been an MP for two terms, then he has been a governor for 2 terms. He has been deputy party leader of ODM. So generally speaking, his blood is in politics. He's not in the executive. Because he's used to politics, not being in the executive.
Okay, from what I'm also reading from other analysts and pundits is that you'd want to come from the national government, come back to the regional politics, you're talking about the county, and also to influence the Sifuna penetration and the Sifuna effect in Western Kenya.
I have not heard of him talking about the Sifuna politics. Oparanya is a man who has been always in government. He was a minister during Kibaki era, that was government. Then he became a governor, and that is government for 2 terms. Then he was put in the cabinet of Uhuru and Ruto by Raila. So he'll be going against the Raila spirits if he quits the position which Raila gave him in government to go and play opposition politics. Because Raila's politics have been that he goes to the ballot, he loses, he joins the government through the window. So he'll be going against the political will of Raila.
Right.
Raila had a handshake with Moi. Raila had a handshake with Kibaki. Raila had a handshake with Uhuru. Raila has had a handshake with Ruto.
Yes.
So the Raila's politics revolved around joining the government through the window. So Oparanya should not leave the government through the window also. He should remain where Raila left him. That is my advice to him.
Are you the one who looked for the president, or the president looked for you to push for the Western Bloc drive?
Okay, that's a very good question. I was called by the President PA to go and assist them in Malava by-election. I told him I'm not interested. I was called by Natembeya and his team that being deputy party leader of DAP, kindly join us. We are having a rally this weekend. I kept quiet. I was called by Eugene Wamalwa, who organized even for me a rally to support Seth Panyako under DAP. I kept quiet. I was called by Atoli. I went to his house in Kajiado. While I was seated in his house, in Atoli's house, at around 8:15, the president called me himself. He told me, Savula, nataka unisaidie Malava. Those are the words he used. And I told him, since you are the president, wacha nikusaidie Malava.
This is after you moved from DAP?
No, I was still
to
in
UDA.
DAP. I had not moved. I moved after we succeeded in the by-election. And I agreed. And I went to Malava. And I did what I did. And we won the seat. And I looked at the data, statistics, what the UDA government has done in Kakamega. Then now I made a resolution, personal resolution,
yes,
that now let me join fully UDA.
Why do you think the president called you in particular, and yet you're not in UDA then?
They had done the analysis that they will need me because I've been a member of parliament in the neighboring constituency, Lugari.
Yes.
And the population of Lugari, we have majority who are Kabras. And Malava is full of Kabras. And my politics is that I was introduced to politics by the late Peter Soita Shitanda. I was the MP Malava. I was very close to him. So I have very close touch with the people of Malava, the Kabras. That's why I was roped in. Yeah.
So that made you...
And every weekend I pass Malava. I pass Malava before I go to Lugari.
So that's what that made you to denounce your party?
I have a very close relation with the people of Malava. Yeah.
So that's made you to denounce your party, DAPK, to UDA?
I have never denounced my party.
You shifted?
I shifted.
So which party do you belong to, DAPK or UDA, as a deputy governor now?
I belong to now UDA. I've shifted allegiance to UDA.
To UDA?
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to use to vie for the next general election, UDA?
I'll run on UDA.
As a governor?
I've not decided. I will announce. I'm still in the office. I'm still the deputy. I cannot announce now I'm running for a particular seat, and county seat is just an easy seat to get. So why should I announce now and I'm still in the office? I should serve the people of Kakamega first. Yeah.
So will you quit after announcing your position? Because that will be conflicting your boss to campaign against him, because he also wants to run for a second term.
He wants to run for a second term. Huh? The thing is, I will announce my intentions at the end of this year. And the scenario from that time will dictate how I'm going to operate. But for now, let me serve the people of Kakamega as a deputy governor.
Okay. Kindly clarify further, the uproar that you made last month, that was a week or so ago, you talked, and you with Mheshimiwa Charles Gemose, that liwe liwalo mtajaza kikapu, and loosely somebody will say that you will rig the elections in black and white. Would you clarify that on a national television, what you meant?
Do you have that clip?
We have it, but you're not ready.
If you have that clip, we can play it. I'm a seasoned journalist, and I cannot talk about those kind of things. Gemose, as a lawyer, he stood and said, nyinyi watu, we are addressing our delegates, UDA delegates. Mufanye ukarabati mpaka tujaze kika. My entry point was, if Samia Suluhu can win by 97%, and she's not politically experienced, like William Samoei Ruto, who has won 6 elections, if Museveni has been winning always, what will happen in Kenya? Ruto will just walk over these opposition guys. They don't have the political stamina to match William Ruto. I'm telling you the truth. Even if you shout here one time on the street, you're wasting your time.
So that's why Mheshimiwa Gemose said that wafanye ukarabati. What is ukarabati in this case?
Gemose said he has been elected 3 times as a member of parliament, and it's not easy to win, so they do ukarabati.
Don't you think that is a very heavy word for Kenyans to swallow at this point, ukarabati kifanywa? Because Kenyans will go, you know this, democratically and openly vote. But ukifanya ukarabati, that word ukarabati would mean so many things. when election time is here?
You see, as journalists, you are judging. Do you know who Karabati will say? Because these are delegates drawn from all the polling stations, polling centers in Lugari constituency.
Yes.
Their work is to mobilize people to go and vote, to mobilize people to have a positive attitudes towards Ruto. Maybe that is the Ukarabati you are talking about. Because it's not easy to rig an election.
Okay.
Because the election, you vote in the ballot. You don't go marking papers. You must first of all be a registered voter, be in the IBC data, the verification is done before you're given a ballot paper. So how will you rig?
Okay, allow me to ask you this question now. You say that you support President William Ruto's re-election, which is okay, but we rarely see you working with him, drumming up support for him nationally.
I'm said we have zoned this country. Joho and the team are in charge of coast.
Yes.
Duale and his team are in charge of Northeastern. Gladys Wanga and Oburu are in charge of ODM zones all over the country. Me and Lusaka is a coordinator, Western Kenya for Ruto 2 to town. You'll not see me in Nairobi.
Is it because he's outgoing?
You'll not see me in Nyanza. You just see me in Western. I'm the deputy coordinator for Ruto 2-term campaign team in Western Kenya. You'll see me in Busia, you'll see me in Trans Nzoia, you'll see me in Vihiga, you'll see me in Kakamega, and you'll see me in Bungoma.
Yes.
You'll never see me in Kitui. I'm looking for votes for Ruto in Western Kenya. And that is my assignment with Honorable Lusaka. And we have coordinators, Mary Emase, Busia, Kakai Bisau, Trans Nzoia, Beatrice Adagala, Vihiga, Freddy Kana, Kakamega, and Honorable Dan Wanyama, Bungoma. So we coordinate our activities within the region. We're not going outside the region.
Let me come
Then we have, they have assigned Musalia, Wetangula and Oparanya now to play at the national platform.
The National League.
National League. So we are at the regional league, Oparanya, Wetangula and Musalia at the national league. Yeah.
Okay.
But once in a while, they can join us in the regional campaign team.
Let's come back home slightly. How is Kakamega so far? The development projects?
Many. Many.
Give us the update of the biggest hospital in Kakamega. It's been stalled for years.
The level 6 hospital, the one I've been talking about. The national government has put in 500 million. We have also put in another 500 million. In the next 8 months, it will be done, up and running. That is the first level 6 hospital in Western Kenya. Buhungu Stadium, we are clearing phase 2. Before the international games that are coming up in 2027, we'll be hosting them in Kakamega. I've spoken about, we've done so many ECDs as county government. So many ECDs. We have done virtually 532 projects against Oparanya's 324. The stall projects, Shasala Market, is done. It's going on. Shamahubu Hospital, that are stalled. All projects that are stalled, we are completing. Malava Dairy, we are looking for an investor now because it's ready. Just looking for an investor to start the dairy. In Lugari, we've put up a Lugari maize mill. It's up and running. So projects are in every ward. Because ours is to carry out projects ward-based. So we've many.
Okay. So if elections were to be won today, be called today, how do you think you'd perform if you are to run or if you are to declare?
You see, I cannot analyze myself because I'm not a candidate.
Self-assessment.
I'm not a candidate. You know, you can only declare when you're a candidate. As per now, I'm not a candidate. So you cannot compare an apple and an orange. I'm not a candidate.
That's a very smart way of answering that question.
And until you are a candidate in the field, that's why I'm talking about Eugene Wamala.
Yes.
And Sifuna. How do we rate you? Do we rate you as a political activist or a presidential candidate? Declare, tell us. Because president is not an easy thing. It's not a county seat. It's not an MP seat. It's a serious affair.
Okay. Are you friends?
I cannot retreat myself.
Are you friends with Sifuna?
Yeah, we are friends. We talk. He's my friend.
What do you think about him?
He should go slow. He'll be wasted politically. You remember in 2013 when Sifuna stood for nomination, ODM nomination in Kandui, he lost nomination. He was out politically. He came back to his law firm. In 2017, when he stood for senators, Nairobi, he lost to Sakaja. He went back to his law firm until when Raila raised Sifuna's hand in 2022 is when he made it as a senator for Nairobi. He's playing comparative politics to attract the Gen Z. But the vote of a Gen Z, you cannot depend on it. You don't know whether you'll vote, will not vote, you'll vote for who, where you will be that time. Sifuna should not play comparative politics. Play the route of politics. You grow slowly in politics.
Okay.
You just jump from a senator to the national politics. As we speak now, I have a pension. I served for 10 years as a member of parliament. Every month I have a pension. I still have a young family. Sifuna has a young family. He will not get a pension when he leaves the Senate seat and runs for president and fails. He'll be in for a big shit and no one will employ you. Me at my age, 46 years, will employ me after politics. I must be in politics. Rather I do my business. My advice to Sifuna: read the mood of the country.
Read the mood of the country.
The Gen Z will shout one term, but Ruto will win.
That is the camera, Mheshimiwa. Tumalizie.
As you've said, Gimose spoke about issues regarding rigging of the general election, but that was misunderstanding by the media. We are just hyping up and preparing our delegates to go and mobilize more people to vote for President Ruto in the 2027 general election, because that was a delegate meeting for the delegates of UDA in Lugari sub-county, Lugari constituency actually, because the constituency has 2 sub-counties. We are not actually mobilizing the delegates to go and rig the election. No one has a capacity to rig a general election. The general election is guarded by the police, is conducted by IEBC, and the instrument that defines how the election will be carried out. So we will follow the law in regard to general election, and we are appealing to Kenyans to be calm. Forget about the issue of 1 term, 2 term. Let's remain united. Election will come and go. But for sure, I'm a son of a pastor, for sure, 100%, William Ruto will win.
Son of a pastor indeed. Mheshimiwa, thank you. Asante sana. 9 months later, promise me that you'll be back again.
Yes, I'll be back again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
all right, I think we've covered quite enough. Let's take a break. That was a discussion with Honorable Ayub Savula. He's the Deputy Governor of Kakamega County. And he says that go slow. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Semana Spokes.
Semana Spokes is the platform where Wananchi engage, query the government, and the government responds. It's your time to be informed. Don't miss Bonganagava every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Semana Spokes.
Kenya is investing in technical skills, vocational training, and alternative pathways through TVETs and, of course, creative economy. Now, the million-dollar question is, are we ready to redefine success?
The first thing that we need to do is to rebrand the name. Yes. Instead of using alternative, we need to rebrand it to be a career just like any other.
Yes. It doesn't matter how old you are, because personally I started at 20 years.
Yeah.
Just figure it out what you like, what you have passion about it, then build it. It will bring a very successful future for you.
We need to be discussing about how we can scale up the alternative pathways, not whether it works.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia upanzi wa parachichi na makadamia.
Lakini huwezi kusema ati utategemea hii peke yake kwa sababu sasa matunda ni kidogo. Lakini kama uko na ekaleji kubwa, makadamia inaweza kusaidia kwa sababu pesa iko.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwe. From matters of politics, we talk about women leadership and empowerment, because when you look at the World Economic Forum's gender gap report, political empowerment remains the weakest area of gender equality at the global level. But when you look at a country like Kenya, despite progress, yes, we've had women rise to political seats and leadership positions across the country, but there's still an underrepresentation within the political structure. And as we head into 2027, how are women shaping that roadmap? I'm having this conversation with one Captain Irene Dano, who is a commercial pilot, a philanthropist, and founder of Captain Irene Dano Foundation and Water Foundation. Karibu sana.
Asante.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Karibu sana to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you.
You know, when we talk about women leadership and empowerment, from your perspective, what does leadership and empowerment mean to you?
Well, for me, I think it's women being at the forefront, being in positions of decision making.
Yes.
And positions of authority where they can mentor other younger women. And empowerment is just to be able to give that opportunity to the next person, not necessarily just the younger women, but just everybody around. So that's what I believe women leadership and empowerment is for me.
And mentorship, mentioned mentorship, which is a very important aspect. We've seen many girls, young ladies who are rising to political seats, going to vie for various seats across the political landscape. What do you make of this so far? Has mentorship played a part in all that?
I want to believe mentorship has a huge role to play in it, but at the same time, it's important to understand what has driven them to want to be in those positions.
Yes.
People perceive these positions differently. If it's for the need to serve or for the need to be an example to others, a good example at that, then that's fine. But if it's for any other reasons, like, I mean, we know now there's this notion and mentality that when you get into leadership, especially in political spheres, you're in a position to enrich yourself quicker, you're in a position to cut funny deals. So there's that other mentality of the leadership positions. So I hope it's for good reasons that they want to be in those positions.
Yeah, very important. You put it very well, and I also think it also touches on the perception that they have as to what leadership is, what politics is. But then again, when you talk about this empowerment of women, should we focus on the number of women occupying leadership positions, or their ability to influence decisions and policies?
I think it should be both. We should focus on the number and the ability in equal measure. I mean, I'm thankful to our new constitution for the positions we have right now, the affirmative action, where we have the 2/3 gender rule, where now we have the women representation that is mandatory. We have the women rep positions. So, I mean, that's one that goes to cover that number. But then again, when it comes to impact, it will be nice to see women being in effective positions, or having being able to show or give change in positions that they occupy. So I think we should focus on both the number and the effectiveness, yes.
And when you look at women today in the country, are they influencing the Kenya's future agenda even when they do not occupy the political and leadership positions that we are talking about?
They are, they definitely are. We see a lot of younger women now wanting to occupy these positions, and this is not just politically, even in the corporate space. We do see a lot of young women wanting to be to occupy those top positions. So yes, I think women are shaping and influencing other younger women to want to be in these top positions.
Let's look at the state of women leadership in Kenya from your perspective and from what you've seen. Where are we today?
We're in a good place, but we're not where we're supposed to be. I believe a lot more can be done. We can have a lot more women in these spaces, but I don't think we're doing so badly off. I think we have some brilliant leaders at the helm of our government, in our political space. We see movers in the corporate space. We have great representation of our women even outside in diaspora. So I think we are doing pretty well, but a lot more could be done for sure.
Actually, when you look at the judiciary, the top leadership of judiciary is actually ladies, and they are making a mark. I think that is an inspiration enough even into to a girl who is watching right now and they want to scale higher. That should be maybe the starting point. And looking at leadership across government, business, academia, civil society, from where you stand, where do you think women are making considerable gains, and where do gaps remain in those sectors?
The gaps are there. I wouldn't say specifically in a certain portfolio, but the gaps are definitely there. The gains, I can say right now, we have them politically. Like you mentioned, in the judiciary, we have Justice Martha Koome sitting at the helm of it, which is pretty encouraging. We have other positions where we have brilliant women leaders in office. And I think the areas where we have gaps so far, I would say, would probably be in... It would be nice to see a female president in this country. Yes, and I think we're ready for that.
And actually, we've seen we've seen ladies go for the top seat, the likes of Martha Karua, Charity Ngilu. Means it's not a matter of if but when.
Yes. And we have upcoming ones as well.
Yeah, we have upcoming ladies. And actually, they are very vibrant. When you look at the political space right now, we have so many ladies who are very vibrant within the political space. They are going for leadership positions. They are influencing change in their own way. And at the global context, you know, the World Economic Forum, as I had put earlier, indicates that political empowerment remains the weakest area of gender equality globally. But despite the progress, there is still underrepresentation of women when it comes to political structures. Why do we still have that now?
A lot of factors do not favor the female gender when it comes to leadership, and especially in the political space. We have cultural issues or cultural practices that impede women to occupy these positions. For example, we have our Muslim folks where we know that the female, normally as a practice, they're not perceived to be very vocal when it as compared to the male counterpart. So we have these practices transcend into their positions when they occupy these positions or given the mandate to represent. So this is one of the things I feel impedes, and it's not just the Muslim community. We also have our own African cultural practices that do not allow women to, or don't favor women to be vocal where men sit, right? So that's one of them. We also have motherhood, you know, to have that balance between being a mother and having to have a career, whether it's in politics or it's in the business world. It's still, it's a huge challenge for women, all right? And education as well. We have a huge number of the literate folks being the male counterparts vis-a-vis the women. So we have a lot of barriers that impede women from being able to show off in these positions globally.
When you look at the cultural aspect, yes, there are those aspects that do not really favor women. But on the same note, what do you think? Can we use culture to empower women?
We can. We can, very much so we can. We can use culture to empower women. For example, there are cultural practices that automatically take women out of these decision-making spaces. We have some of our communities in our country, Kenya, right now, where we have the FGM. We know that does not work very well for the girl child. So one of these would be to educate both our men and women against this, and having this, I wouldn't say phased out, but just stop completely would be an empowerment to the girl child. Yes.
And when you let's look at constitutional promise versus reality. Of course, the two-third gender rule is enshrined in the Constitution as a safeguard for inclusion. But more than a decade later, the implementation remains incomplete. As a country, why do you think we have failed to realize this? Is it goodwill, or where do we fall short?
Maybe it's the lack of role models. Having the numbers does not necessarily mean that we have good leadership to look up to. Those are two different things. We might have the numbers, but we might not have the very role models. So I feel that probably this could be one of the things that has made younger women, or women generally, not be able to come forth to seek these positions. I feel like that's one of them, the lack of the good role models or good mentors. Yeah, that could be one of them. The other thing, it's just being from the, we know women are regarded as the weaker gender. So there's that perception of men can do this. It's fine. We can lead from behind. Yes. So that could be one of the reasons why.
Do you also think that do you think we have provided enough platforms that encourage women to rise to these positions, be it in business, be it economically, or even politically? Have we provided those platforms?
I think the platforms are there, but they're not practical. It's more of spoken, women empowerment, this, empowerment, that. But when it comes to the implementation and the actual occupation of those platforms, it's just rhetoric, in my opinion. Because when you get to actually wanting to occupy those positions, you find those fine lines, those fine print sort of impediments to the women. So I feel like the platforms are there, but they're not necessarily practical for women to occupy. Yes.
On that same regard, you know, we have seen women governors, we are seeing women members of parliament, women representatives. They're rising in all political positions. And as a country, can we say we have increased the visibility of women in those in leadership positions, but failed to increase their influence in decision making?
Yes and no.
Why?
Okay, so like you mentioned, we do have the numbers, and I come from a county that I'm very proud to say that the top leadership is female.
Yes.
Yes, it's a female leadership, right? And we have other counties that also do have female governors, right? Which is a good thing.
Yes.
But now to have that their leadership or that effect being felt, I would say that we have not failed, because I feel like if we had the numbers, maybe we would have seen more of what it is that is expected of such leadership, in my opinion. So yes, the numbers are there, not much, could be more, but then when it comes to the effectiveness, I feel like the ones that are there, they've done the best they could to have that seen and felt. Yes.
If as a country we are to make that happen, be seen and felt as you're putting it, how should we focus on substantive representation where women directly shape policy and governance outcomes?
Please say that again.
How should we, or where should we focus where should we train our guns in making sure that we achieve substantive representation of women and that they get that chance to influence policy and decision making?
Empowerment. Let's empower our women. I feel like we should empower them in all aspects. We should give equal opportunities to women as we give to men, provide them with just have them be able to access education just as much as the boy child does. We know early or teen pregnancies does affect women, and it impedes them from being able to occupy these spaces when there comes a time. So I feel like we should afford equal opportunity to both men and women. So with regards to education and also in positions, let's have this what do I call it, promotion or the hierarchy climbing be equal for both men and women, politically, in the corporate, in all our spaces. Let's have women also be able to occupy those spaces as much as men do. Equal opportunities in all aspects. That's what I think we should.
And do you think women have to work a little bit harder than their male counterparts in order to gain recognition and even legitimacy and even acceptance within leadership spaces, be it not only in leadership spaces but other spheres of influence within life? Do women have to?
Unfortunately.
Why has that? Why is it?
Perception. We are, as a woman, I'm speaking from experience, there's that perception that we are the weaker gender. So yes, it's.
But is it really true that you are the weakest?
It is not. We live life. What do you mean? It is not. It's far from the truth. It's far from the truth. I feel like women are able to shoulder a lot more as compared to men, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, in all aspects. I feel like women are a super powerhouse, but it's not seen as that. There's that sense of women being perceived as weaker. I know there's emphasis on a woman being, the female gender being taken care of, but now it's now affecting our abilities or the perception of our capabilities, which is not true. I think we are strong and capable enough.
And when you look at let's say political parties, from what you've seen happen within the country, what practical measures can political parties take to ensure that institutions and society create a more level playing field for both women and men?
Afford equal opportunities. The same criteria you use for men, let it be the same you use for women. Drop the double standards. That's what I think should happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as we approach, we are approaching the elections in 2027. Let's look at influence on national priorities. Looking at the major issues that will shape 2027,
yes.
The cost of living, healthcare, unemployment, accountability. When you look at women's leadership now, how visible is it in shaping these conversations?
Women's leadership, speaking from the local perspective in our country, I think we have brilliant female leaders. I mean, right from the Senate to the National Assembly to the cabinet to top corporate positions. I think we have quite a number of them that we could put on the table. When it comes to shaping 2027, I think we have women who should be allowed in at the table where policies and decisions are made.
Yeah.
We need to create this table for these women. We have them, we have those leaders, right? But now they need to be at the decision-making tables. That's what I feel.
And how do they rise to those positions of, those levels of decision-making? Do they have to be handed those positions, or they go for it based on what happens? Let's say for leadership positions you vie, for promotions you are promoted on merit, if it's a business or a corporate. How are they supposed to rise to those positions?
I would want to say they should rise on merit, but that's not what happens. We have a lot of, like politically, we have the nominated positions, for example, the senatorial, even the National Assembly, and also the affirmative action where we have the 47 women county reps. We are made to feel like these positions are handed over to us and we don't have to fight for them. So when we assume office or we assume those positions, we're told, you're here because, not because you earned it, but because the Constitution says, or your party put you there, or so that handing over is more emphasized than those who actually have to fight it out with the men in the field. When we cross over to the corporate side, we see women getting promotions. It would be nice to imagine that it is, in most cases it is on merit, but we've had cases of where it's not the case, it's otherwise, right? So it would be nice to see the women get to these positions by the fact that they are capable, they are able, and they understand these positions, but we're made to feel like it's given and handed over to us.
Whereas you have worked for it.
Yes, and qualified.
And qualified, actually.
Yes.
Very important. And, we are having ladies going for political positions in the next general elections. What do you think are the issues that they should place at the center of the national conversation as we approach the electioneering period? From your perspective, what issues should they concentrate on?
I think we should, and I'm speaking from the perspective that I'm one of the ladies who will be seeking political office. One of the things, well, there are many things we should be considering, but most importantly, it should be to change the lives of the people that give us the mandate to go and represent them. And it is to change for the better, because change can be either. So for me, it's to advocate for positive change in the lives of the people that we are sent to represent. We have to look at issues to do with having improved health, access to education. We have to look out for, to lower unemployment. We have to focus on unemployment as well, have our youth get opportunities and positions. There are a lot of things to consider. It's just about bettering the life of the person who gave you the mandate to go and speak on their behalf in those platforms.
Yeah, the whole aspect of representation.
Absolutely.
Let's look at the next generation of women leaders. We have younger women who have vied and successfully won the political seats in parliament. We have like the women rep of Kirinyaga County in Jerry Minor, Bomet County, that is Lynette Chepkoril.
We have Emilia Mabona.
Yes. Does that, when you look at the younger women leaders, does that signal a shift in, a generational shift in the way women leadership is seen within the country?
I like that women are becoming vocal. I like that women are bold now to want to be seen and heard in effecting change in our society, in being part of the conversation where we want to better our people's lives. I like that. And so I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years, we will see a major shift in terms of the number of women in our political spaces. So it's a good thing to see. I'm happy. I'm happy to also be one of them. And to many more women in politics.
And when you look at the rise of young women leaders, does that inspire confidence in the future of women leadership in the country?
Absolutely. It inspires a great deal of confidence. Personally, I'm very proud to see young women in leadership positions. It shows that as a country we are moving forward, because we are creating that continuity to what was already started by our predecessors. So it's a step in the right direction for us as a country and for the female gender as well.
And because when you talk about leadership, it's not only about politics. We have women making some considerable influence outside government. Because leadership extends beyond politics that we are used to. How significant is their contribution when it comes to matters of business, academia, civil society, media, and innovation that you're talking about, and it will shape Kenya's future? How important is that?
We know that spaces where women are at the helm of affairs, in the top positions, we see those spaces, or the kind of leadership that is afforded by these women, to be that of empathy. We see that a lot of, even from the past, we see a lot of peace was achieved mostly where women were mediators. So the leadership style of women, I feel, or also from my experience, and also being a young leader in my own right, I feel like where women are at the helm of issues, things tend to be more calmer and structured. It's less chaotic. It's more structured, more like a nurturing kind of governance.
And so when you look at, based on what you've said and the kind of leaders women leaders we've seen, are there lessons that can be learned from women who have broken barriers and risen to positions of influence? What do you think should be the lessons that ought to come from that?
Well, with this, I think I have to pick like specific instances for women in such positions. For example, we have presidents, female presidents that we've seen in the past. We have the current Namibian president. We have our very own neighbor, Madam.
Suluhu.
Exactly. We have the former Ethiopian president. So there are a number of them. lessons to be picked from this. Well, so far, in my opinion, what I would say would be that we are ready for female leadership, I think. And I see that what they're doing in their countries is actually, most of it is commendable. I mean, the countries are still standing, right? And also, it's encouraging. They serve as mentors. I believe most of them are mothers, grandmothers. And so I feel the lessons that we can pick from them is just for us women to continue to be bold and believe that we can occupy these positions, and nothing is impossible. Yes.
And when you look at a country like Kenya, how can we better leverage on the expertise and leadership of women today so as to accelerate national development?
We have brilliant minds in our country. We can also learn from what's happening across the globe, where women are in leadership positions. So I feel like we can try to have these women at the helm of these positions, and also try and get empowerment programs for our women. At the same time, I don't like speaking on empowerment just on one side. I like to speak on empowerment for both, right?
Paint a picture.
Okay. So when I say empowering a woman and without empowering a man, I feel like you're doing half the job. Because if you create opportunities that give the woman the upper hand, and you don't create opportunities that makes the man understand why the woman has the upper hand, and that it's or also giving the male counterpart the same kind of empowerment in their own rights, I think we create an imbalance that I'm sure we can see the negatives currently, right? I didn't want to touch on it, but I just have to mention, because you said I should paint a picture.
Because you look at it, there are those who feel that there's a concentration of empowering the girl child. And there are those who feel that the boy child has been, in a way, neglected, because he's the same person who's supposed to be at par with the girl child. So I think what you're saying is very true, because they're supposed to be at par. Because when you empower both, I think it also goes ahead to ensure
that a balance.
It creates a balance. Let's touch on mentorship. What do you think needs to be done more to inspire more young ladies to rise into leadership positions, not only politically, but also to go for positions in maybe business, civil society, other areas, healthcare? Yes.
So for those already in such positions, be good examples, create platforms for these young ladies, educate them, give them opportunities. Personally, I have tried to do that to the younger girl child and boy child. So I have created an empowerment program, which on my part is I feel like it's a mentorship that I'm offering for our youth. So I feel like the leaders in these positions should create platforms for our youth. We should be good role models, and I think that should be able to encourage more into these positions.
When you look at our political landscape and the role model that you're talking about, do you think the political environment now is setting a good example to the younger ones, just from your own perspective?
Yes and no.
Why?
It depends on what you're looking for politically. There are those who are upstanding morally in every sense, and you can choose to look up to them, and there are those who choose the politics of insults and propaganda and slandering. So yes and no. We do have people who politic very clean. They have their points articulated. They have their message right across to whoever it is that they intend it for. And we have those who just heckle and use, you know, profane language. So I say yes and no. But then again, it depends on who your audience is.
Let's close this. I want you to look at that camera and give your closing remarks and talk about what you see as the future of women leadership and empowerment in the country.
Thank you. So for women leadership, I am excited about where we are going as a country when it comes to the women representation as a country. I'm very happy to see a lot of young women coming out to ask or seek for these political positions. Personally, I am I will be asking for the same when it comes to the next general elections. And for my position, we are a lot of young women who are asking for these positions, for this same position. And I see the same across the other counties. And it's exciting to see this, because whoever makes it, you don't leave behind losers. You leave behind a troop of leaders who you know that their future is bright. So please, women, come out, occupy these spaces, occupy these positions. They are for you. Nobody's going to hand it over to you. You have to come for it. So I'm excited as a country to see where we're going. And I'm looking forward to the day that we will have a woman president in this country. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I wish you all the best in your
very much.
endeavors. That is Captain Irene Ndano, who is a commercial pilot, philanthropist, and founder of Captain Irene Ndano Foundation and Water Foundation. This conversation comes to an end now, but do not go too far. Vivian Ndego is up next with yet another conversation with yet another lady at our segment of Women at the Forefront. My name is Mike Megwe. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us.
Goal today is to help you find the light at the end of a very dark tunnel. And if we leave you with even a small glimmer of hope, then we've done our job.
I tried to rush through the process, and it did me no favors whatsoever. And I got stuck in what you call complicated.
In times, it's hard to carry the weight of grief. And grief is not limited to death. It can look like divorce. It can look like the death of a pet. It can look like a major life transition where we are grieving and our body feels the symptoms, where it's hard to think beyond that. And so processing with a licensed clinician, number one, we're not gonna tell your business.
Justin! Yes. Vijana na Justin. Kabisa.
Na nisikusikie ukiongea vibaya kuhusu mchungaji ama mtumishi wa Mungu.
Unaenda kanisa? Kama unaenda kanisa. Unajua yeye anaweza kulani wewe Joshua wewe. Kuna mtu mwingine unadanganya kwa hiki kijiji. No litasimama. Basi inatuombe.
Nikusaidie vipi?
Mr. Andrew hapa ni kama babangu.
Nimetembea na mgeni. Tito dakika moja.
Tumekuja kukualika hiyo event ya Jumamosi.
Nikuje kukula tu, alafu baadaye nisipigie Andrew kura.
If you have a minute to spare, tunaweza rudi ndani tusemezane kidogo.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia upanzi wa parachichi na makadamia.
Lakini huwezi kusema ati utategemea hii peke yake, kwa sababu sasa matunda ni kidogo. Lakini kama ukiwa na ekaleji kubwa, makadamia inaweza kusaidia, kwa sababu pesa iko.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Kenya is investing in technical skills, vocational training, and alternative pathways through TVETs and, of course, creative economy. Now, the million-dollar question is, are we ready to redefine success?
The first thing that we need to do is to rebrand the name.
Yes.
Instead of using alternative, we need to rebrand it to be a career just like any other.
It doesn't matter how old you are, because personally I started at 20 years.
Yeah.
Just figure it out what you like, what you have passion about it, then build it. It will bring a very successful future for you.
We need to be discussing about how we can scale up the alternative pathways, not whether it works.
Imo iko wapi?
Urembo. Imo iko sawa. Anapigana tu.
Anapigana. Kwa hivyo.
Picha urembo.
Bahati msilalia, basi tuamkia. Wajileta tu wenyewe.
Tafadhali, nielezee nipate kusikia. Hata hivyo nikisimama.
Umeletwa mtoto. Wazungumzia nini? Mimea nimeletwa mtoto wako. Yostahili furaha. Na mimi je? Hapa kusoma hata ya maisha.
You are right in time for our Women at the Forefront segment right here on Good Morning Kenya. My name is Vivian Dagwa. Thank you for staying with us. Now today our woman at the forefront is none other than Juliet Mongeli Mwema. And Juliet is the founder and executive director of Elevate Her. She is a sustainable human development advocate. She's a paracyclist and an inclusive women rights advocate. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Vivian.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. And how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Now, I want you to just tell us more about yourself. Tell us more about Juliet. Away from all the titles that I've mentioned, who is Juliet?
Thank you very much, Vivian, and thank you for having me. Juliet is, first of all, a mother of 3. And like you mentioned, an athlete. I love sports. I do paracycling. Paracycling where I ride the tandem, the bicycle for 2 people, where the pilot is at the front and I'm seated at the back. And I'm also a triathlete, and I love exploring nature.
Yeah.
So apart from the title, that's me.
All right. Yeah. And you're just being humble about this, but you've actually, you know, represented us internationally as a paracyclist.
Yes. So I represented Kenya in Belgium and the World Championships, Ostend, Belgium 2021. I also represented Kenya in Switzerland for a paracycling training camp at UCI, which is the world headquarters for cycling in the world.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
So much,
I want us to get into, you know, Elevate Her, which you founded, and you're also the executive director. But when we talk about Elevate Her, what exactly is it? Is it an initiative? Is it what is it all about?
All right, thank you for that question. Elevate Her is a grassroots women-led organization of persons with disabilities. At Elevate Her, we champion and advocate for the rights of women and girls with disabilities, as well as caregivers of children with disabilities. Like you mentioned, I am the founder and executive director, and myself, I'm visually impaired. That means I'm a woman with disabilities. So we do matters empowerment, specifically to women and girls with disabilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was there a particular defining moment for you that made you decide to start this organization?
Yes, Vivian, there was 2 instances. So the first one, like I mentioned, being the first paracyclist to represent Kenya, I had to navigate several barriers and challenges on my own, not knowing specifically like what to do or not having a blueprint. And I felt like being alone in a male-dominated sport, I felt like if I had a better support system,
or conducive and a better environment, I'd have done way better. So that is the first instance. The second instance is a legal issue I once had in the past, where I really had a lot of challenges accessing justice, right from the reporting mechanism to accessing legal aid services, to going to court, which I eventually had a favorable judgment.
Yeah.
So because of these two experiences, I decided to form a place where women and girls with disabilities can consider like a safe space for them, and where, like I said, we will continue championing for the rights of women and girls with disabilities, and where they can fully express themselves and eventually exercise agency and autonomy over every aspect of their life.
Okay, so how long has Elevator been in existence, and maybe how many women and girls are you working with at the moment?
Thank you for that. Elevator has been in existence from 2019. And as of March this year, we had reached over 2,550 girls and counting. And we look forward to impacting and touching many, many more lives. And like myself, I'd like to say, I would wish to hear many more stories of impact and success stories.
You know, just from your story on what made you decide to begin this organization, you had faced several barriers, you know, on your way. Maybe also just as you know, with the women that you work with, which are 2,000 plus, what are some of the challenges that you may point out that they are facing that maybe some of us may not be aware of? Yeah.
All right, thank you, Vivian, for that question. Some of the challenges that women and girls with disabilities face on a day-to-day basis. Let me begin by saying that we work with women and girls with disabilities from the urban informal settlements. So there they face double marginalization, the aspect of poverty, the aspect of living with disability in an urban informal settlement. So what that means is basic accessibility. Picture a girl on a wheelchair just trying to navigate the streets of an informal settlement. The challenge of communication barrier, a girl who is deaf or hard of hearing, the lack of a sign language interpreter right in the community. Access to education, inclusive education, because in our work at Elevator, many times we'll hear either parents, caregivers, or the society asking you what is the benefit of educating a girl with disability. So that basically means is that they are excluded from accessing inclusive education. So it's in all aspects of life, be it accessibility, education, access to legal services. Like, for example, reporting mechanism. Last year during one of our free legal aid clinics, one of the officers we were working with expressed to us that they lack sign language interpreters at the station. So what this means is when a girl who is hard of hearing comes to report, there's right there a challenge of communication. And of course, we were able to come in and support, but that on its own is a challenge when it comes to accessing of justice. And also another challenge is the fact that they don't know, for example, when their rights are violated. So you'll find that there are a lot of rights violation going on. So because of the lack of awareness, they're not able also to report. So those are some of the challenges among many.
So clearly awareness needs to be done more on matters, you know, with the women and girls living with disability all together. And you know, still on the same, research shows that women and girls with disabilities face higher risks when it comes to matters abuse and violence. You know, would you say that this is given enough attention? And you know, you've just talked about matters reporting. You know, even when you're going to report a case at the police station, sometimes for a woman who is, you know, deaf or cannot speak, and they lack an interpreter, sign language interpreter, it can be very difficult for them. So do you feel like this is something that is also not given enough attention?
So Vivian, yes, I think in my opinion, it's not given much attention. Just think about it this way. We're currently talking about femicide, right? Have you ever heard of data or statistics about women and girls with disabilities? They're hardly mentioned. That does not mean they're not happening. It means they're happening. They're either not being reported or not being given attention. 2 years back, I remember there's a deaf girl who told me that she underwent some form of violation and she didn't know how to report it. And when she eventually did, it was just dismissed. Wow. So I feel, in my opinion, they are not being given attention. And like I mentioned, especially in the issue of femicide, the whole aspect of disability is rarely mentioned, if at all it is mentioned. Yeah.
So how, you know, that is quite sad. So how do we meaningfully, and by we I mean all together, even the justice system, how do we meaningfully just safeguard and protect persons living with disability in that line?
So first of all, that starts in the community. Because we all come from communities, all of us. The community needs to start to protect and safeguard these women, but by realizing that, number one, disability rights are human rights. That I, as a woman with disability, enjoy the same rights as a person, quote unquote, without a disability. So the community needs to safeguard our rights. The community needs to support us when we go to report cases of violation, because often, I don't know if you've heard, you'll often hear about kangaroo courts in the community, where now, because it is a woman or a girl with disability, the community sort of feels this is not a case or a point that needs to go forward with reporting. So I feel like by the community supporting us is allowing us to report when violation occurs, and the justice system being inclusive and supportive. By inclusive and supportive, I mean, for example, when a case is reported, like the stations, the officers are able to support us by giving us the right support we need, from a sign language interpreter to alternative communication, and all the way receiving support all the way to the courts.
So it needs to be an all-round coming together, you know, from the community and you know, everyone else involved. And just from saying that, this has come to mind, you know, when you talk about the community, I'm sure we have all heard of cases whereby, you know, a child with disability maybe is found having been locked away from, you know, everyone else. You know, this family does not want people to know they have a child who has this disability or another. How do we address this? And would you say this stems from stigma?
So thank you very much, Vivian, for that. Yes, part of it stems from stigma. And when you say stigma, what do you mean? For example, one of our caregivers was telling us that her child, who has a severe disability, was being prevented from playing with other children in the compound that they live, with the myth or misconception that disability is contagious. Disability was as a result of a curse or many other misconceptions. So that on its own forms stigma to this child and to this caregiver. So that this now will lead to this caregiver isolating this child and keeping this child away. And in the real sense, the child has the right to play, has a right to association, and also has a right to access education. So yes, I feel like children deserve not to be isolated, definitely. They deserve the right to play, to associate, to interact with others, and of course to access inclusive education.
And how do we change the story, matters stigma?
How we change the story is that by first creating awareness on disability rights. Like I mentioned, disability rights are human rights. Me having a disability does not mean that I do not enjoy the same right as my counterpart who doesn't have a disability. So a lot of creation of awareness from the community level, from creating awareness in schools. What I love about schools is we often hear about integrated schools or special schools. But when you think about it, Vivian, there's no special world after special school. So we need to teach our children right from the school, primary
I love that. There's no special world after the special school. Because after schooling, you know, in this place where it's just for the special students, when they come to the outside world, there's no special world. Kindly talk more about that.
So I'm not, just for clarity, I support special schools, but my point is let us also teach our children right from the lowest level of education about disability, about how to handle and associate with a person with disability, so that they grow up knowing that there's disability. One of my colleagues in campus really shocked me by telling me that the first time he was interacting with disabilities when he met me, And he says he feels like if he'd interacted with disability before, his attitude and perception would have really been different. So creating awareness from schools to churches to the community will create a whole lot of change, and also to the media. Using platforms such as this, creating awareness about disability and how our rights are just the same as people without disability. And disability is not contagious.
It is not contagious.
It's not contagious.
I like that. I like that. And you know, even speaking about the fact that, you know, there's no special place out here. You can never say that this is the special place for this person because she has this disability or another. Just I want us to get into speaking about inclusion altogether, because I can only imagine how that may look like for someone that has disability, specifically at the workplaces. How would inclusion look like, or how would you wish it looked like?
Thank you so much for that question. I really love that because the legal issue I talked about came about from the workplace. So inclusion at the workplace looks like accessible infrastructure. A person using a wheelchair is able to access the building independently. A person who's low vision or visually impaired is able to move around the building independently and without barriers or challenges. It also means that an employer provides reasonable accommodation for an employee with disability. Now, reasonable accommodation depends from person to person. For example, myself, the reasonable accommodation I received is, I will receive, for example, a laptop that has a screen reading software that will enable me to work and work independently. It will mean that a deaf person is able to receive sign language interpretation in the workplace. It will mean also a visually impaired person is able to receive information in alternative formats. Reasonable accommodation in some workplaces might mean that, for example, an employee gets to leave work early, because when you think about it, Vivian, a person on a wheelchair is not able to kungangania matatu with a person without disability.
Allow me to cut you short a bit. We'll get back to that conversation. Let's take a break. We'll be back in a bit.
Okay.
In regards to General Tsao's accident, we constables feel great sadness. Starting from this day, you are the new Requiem General of this street. You'll decide the rules of Rakshasa Street.
Those who die here shall remain in Ghostum forever.
Not only can he help you, he's the only one who can help you.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
Thank you for staying with us. Before we took that break, Juliet was just letting us in on what inclusion looks like, specifically when you talk about inclusion for persons with disabilities in the workspaces. So, Juliet, if you may just continue elaborating that.
So thank you, Vivian. Like I was saying, inclusion basically means an employer providing reasonable accommodation for an employee with disability, for this employee to perform to their best without having to navigate so many barriers in the workplace. So like I mentioned, an employee with wheelchair, using a wheelchair will, for example, have a ramp so that they're able to navigate comfortably. An employee who is visually impaired will receive information in alternative formats such as Braille, screen reading softwares in the laptop, and a deaf or a hard of hearing employee will receive sign language interpretation. So yeah, that's inclusion at the workplace. And in some cases, you'll find some employers are gracious enough to at least let you leave work early so that you're able to navigate the whole challenges of getting home. So like I mentioned, reasonable accommodation will be different in different contexts.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that. It's reasonable accommodation, not just accommodation, but a reasonable one.
A reasonable
that is actually it's specifically for that person.
Yes.
I like that. When we talk about caregivers, because these are a group of people that we cannot leave out of this conversation, why is it so important for us to have that group in the conversation?
Wow, thank you so much, Vivian, for that question. Now, caregivers of children with disabilities often undergo probably the same challenges as their children with disabilities, right from stigma of having a child with disability, being discriminated against, again on the basis of the disability of their child, isolation and marginalization. So they undergo compounding challenges because most of them will tell you, for example, Vivian, one told us she had to resign from her work to take care of her child. She already has the burden of unpaid care work taking care of this child. And I must say that caregivers of children with disabilities undergo a lot of challenges. So why it is important to factor them in is because they are the sole and primary caregivers of these children. They best understand the needs of these children, and they need like a lot of support, right from psychosocial support, economic empowerment to enable them take care of these children and provide every need that this child might need on a day-to-day living.
Let's get to talk matters policies right now. Do you feel we have enough policies in place as a country to ensure that you are catered for as a person with disability? And you know, if there are any gaps in there, what gaps are there that you feel should be looked into?
Wow. So I feel like Kenya is very blessed with policies and acts, especially for persons with disabilities. I'm excited about the recently enacted Disability Act of 2025. We are still waiting for the guidelines, standards and regulations. So I feel like, yes, we have the laws and the policies in place. And even I feel like for me, the challenge is basically implementation. Because we are very blessed right from the Disability Act, the disability policies and other laws that protect us. So I feel like just the major gap is in implementation. And I know it's work in progress. I know we've seen a lot of changes in the last years. We've received a lot of support and goodwill from the policymakers, from the CSOs all around, even the media houses. So what I look forward to is an increase in implementation, goodwill towards the development of guidelines and standards to the new, towards the new Disability Act. So yeah, I feel like the policies are in place. We have guidelines that support and protect us. The gap is in protection. I mean, implementation, sorry.
Implementation.
Yes.
Implementation, rather.
Yes.
That's the only place where we have the gap. Just starting to implement because we have the right policies already in place. Yes. All right. Now, I want us to talk about participation as well, because most times, more often than not, we get that, you know, persons with disability sometimes are not really included or allowed to participate in one way or another. Sometimes even in matters concerning themselves, we have other people going to speak for them. So when we talk about participation, how would you like that to be addressed?
For me, participation is basically bringing us to the table. Don't talk on behalf of persons with disabilities. Don't make decisions on behalf of persons with disabilities. Do not assume that one knows the needs or the challenges of a person with disability. For me, it looks like bringing a person with disability to the table. Let him or her express their challenges, let them give you their recommendation, so that now we're not speaking on behalf of. We have them right at the table, so that if we are part of the change, tomorrow we will not stand up and say we were not included. So inclusion basically means involving us right at the negotiating tables, all the way to implementation. Yeah.
I'm sure with your work on Elevate Her, you have gotten to witness different shifts, and I believe some are positive shifts. Would you mind sharing with us maybe a story or two of the shifts that you've gotten to witness?
Wow, so thank you. So I'll begin by saying that at Elevate Her, our work towards inclusive justice, we offer, first of all, a lot of free legal aid clinics, where we bring legal service providers together to offer these services to our project participants for free. Right from magistrates, we'll bring paralegals, we'll bring all legal service providers. So part of the stories of impact we've seen is when there's a lady called Helen who was sharing that she didn't know about a certain right towards legal guardianship of her child. And she said after attending our legal aid clinic last year in September, she was able to follow the legal pathways provided and received the proper documentation she needed for like a guardianship of her child. And that to me was a story of impact. I also loved when one of our ladies who is in the female basketball team, the national team, during one of our commemoration days of menstrual hygiene, and she stood up and said, you know what, I just have a physical disability and my womanhood is not disabled. So for me, what that did to me is, number one, she has agency to speak for herself. She has autonomy. And you know, she's telling you, you know, it's only my body that is physically handicapped, but my womanhood is not disabled. Like I mentioned before, we want to see a world where a woman can speak up for herself. She can claim her right. So for me, that right there was a story of success.
And that's a beautiful story.
Beautiful story,
you know, and it also just speaks more to the term. I don't know if I should call it a term or a line. That disability is not inability.
Yes.
And you know, you are living proof, because it did not deter you from being the person that you are right now. It did not deter you from pursuing your dreams, pursuing your goals, you know, becoming a mother and all of that. So for someone who may be watching us right now, who has a child who's disabled in one way or another, and they are maybe discouraged, wondering, will my child amount to anything, you know, in this world, what would be your word to them? I want you to speak life into that child or lady or man or parent who's looking after a disabled child.
Thank you, Vivian. The reason I'm very happy with what you said is sometimes I usually wonder, my parents passed on, and when my mom passed on, she didn't know that I had a disability. She just knew I had a vision challenge. So she didn't have the opportunity of even someone talking to her. So for me, what I'd say to this caregiver or a parent or guardian of a child with disability is that your child is a child like any other child, and as long as this child receives the necessary environment, accessibility and the support, she will become whatever she dreams of. And I usually love finishing it by, or ending it by saying, I am a living example that having a disability is not a barrier or a sentence to your life. Yes, it will take us sometimes twice as much to get half as far, but the important thing is to just keep going. It's not easy, it's going to be tough, but the important thing, don't give up. One lady told us, she's on a wheelchair, she told us, for her, her motto is, life is like a bicycle. For you to maintain the balance, you need to keep going. So this caregiver, just keep going and don't give up on this child. Yeah, you're the #1 support system to this child. Keep going.
I love that. I love that. Maybe what are some of the biggest needs that you see on ground that maybe for someone who's watching and may want to come on board and help in one way or the other, if you can just point out some needs?
So there are several needs when it comes to persons with disabilities, but in the context of inclusive justice, part of the needs we've seen is a lot, we've seen project participants who do not know, like I mentioned, about rights and rights awareness and violation. So we've partnered with big organizations when it comes to creating awareness on the rights of women and girls with disabilities. So one of the needs is lack of awareness that needs to a lot of rights awareness creation. We've also seen needs where when it comes to inclusive education, like I mentioned, most of our participants are not educated. So we'd love to receive support where we see children with disabilities receiving inclusive education, like their counterparts, receiving support, like, for example, assistive devices, from wheelchairs to white cane. You saw me with a white cane. Yeah, tomorrow is World Assistive Technology Day. So just providing assistive tech from white canes to wheelchairs to hearing aids to those who are hard of hearing. Yeah. Majorly assistive devices remain to be a great challenge and need in the community we serve.
What impact has Elevate Her achieved all together that you are really proud of, that you sit back sometimes and you look at, you know, from the time when you decided, I want to start this for, you know, people with disabilities, when you just sit back and look at some of these achievements, what are you mostly grateful for?
Wow, there's so many, but the one that comes to mind immediately, like I mentioned, we do a lot of free legal aid clinics. So last year, I bumped into one of the ladies we empower. And I remember she said in Swahili, and she said, I learned a lot during the legal aid clinic, and I know my rights, and I know once I enter a contract with a person or an organization, it needs to be in writing, and I now know the reporting pathways I should follow when my rights are violated. That to me was impact, because empowerment from legal literacy to education to social, for me, when you hear that, not during our activities or program implementation, to me that was success. Because for me, success is what remains after the project implementation is done. So I was like, I'm praying that there are many more like you in the community. And she told us before her rights were violated, because number one, she didn't know that they were being violated. And she said that I now know when it's violated where to go, what to do, and who to reach out to give me help when I'm not receiving the help I need. And that one story alone, you know, it gives you strength to keep going. And I know her voice will echo in the community. So she now became our agent of social transformation.
Amazing, amazing. And I you know, from that story that you've highlighted, I can imagine that there are very many other persons with disability whose rights get violated. And you know, it's very sad and unfortunate to know that, you know, from what you just mentioned, the lady didn't even know that her rights are being violated in the first place. So there's clearly a gap when it comes to awareness that needs to be done, you know, on matters, the rights that persons with disabilities have. But even with that, for maybe if someone's rights are violated for a person with disability, just where should they start? For someone who's not, you know, fortunate enough to be part of Elevate Her and maybe they have no idea where they should start, where should they start?
Thank you so much, Vivian, for that question. Now, during the legal aid clinics, our legal professionals usually give the guidelines. Like, for example, if, a defilement has occurred, which is the first reporting station you should go to. So depending on the type of right that has been violated, we have like our police stations, which we have worked with for like 2 years. And I remember one instance where we were working with a certain OCS, and he joked and said, I am now an agent of disability right in the community. And he told us that once a person with disability comes to report, they are given priority, and they're given, again, reasonable accommodation at the station. And I remember him saying that, yes, we don't have sign language interpreters, but we can always reach out to you. So they can always be keen at the station where they can be guided on what are the pathways that they can follow. Because we work closely with the government just to ensure support is issued to persons with disabilities when they come to report. We've also worked with hospitals just to create awareness on, for example, when they come to report in cases of, again, defilement. For example, us offering them sign language interpreter support, and just making them aware of the support and how we can partner and collaborate in offering guidance to this person.
So they should not be afraid to go forth and maybe report a violation, wondering whether they will be accommodated. There's proper channels.
There are proper channels to follow. And I thank God for the partnership we've had with the government, because once we train them, they are saying we're able to offer support and referral pathways For example, if one facility is not able to offer a certain support, they're able to refer and link this participant to the next facility. Yeah.
I'm sure many would love to know how they can join Elevator just to be able to be part of this empowerment program.
Yeah.
So how can one go about joining you guys?
Thank you. So our website is www.elevator.or.ke. And on our website, we've shared all our social media platforms. So you can reach us through our contacts where we've shared all our contacts, our social medias, and we are always ready to receive support and partnership requests. Yeah.
And for the persons with disability, they're also open to join you?
Definitely, they can join us on the website. There's a place where you can join us and become part of the amazing work we do in the community. Yeah.
That is amazing to know. What gives you hope as we wind up? What gives you hope for the future of persons with disability in Kenya?
Especially in the context of justice, Vivian, like I mentioned, through my experience where I received favorable judgment that was later on used in landmark cases in Kenya, what gives me hope is if I could make it, I believe any other person can make it. And I like to say that I stand as a light, shining the pathway and telling someone if I did it, you can also do it. And I'm also very happy to see my case being referenced and cited in other cases. What gives me hope is the challenges and obstacles I went through, I made it. And I believe with the support we offer, every other person can also make it. Yeah.
And for, I love your story because it is very inspiring. From, with the work that you're doing with Elevator, with the work that you're also doing just all together for persons with disability, as well as you being sporty and going for it. So for someone who's also, has a disability and knows that this is where my talent is at, I am very sporty, but they feel like their disability would not enable them to go for it. I think you are also the right person to speak to them, letting them know that it is possible. There are Paralympics.
Yes, it is so possible. There are different sports for, I forgot to mention that we use parasports as a tool of advocacy for gender and disability inclusion, where we do a lot of paracycling, paratriathlon. We do a lot of work in sports. And in sports, that's a place for like unwinding, it's therapeutic. And I've seen sports taking people to the highest levels of their life, being a great source of economic empowerment. So yes, from sports to all aspects of empowerment, I welcome everyone, any person with disability who wants to pursue any form of sports. We offer support. We try, when we're not able to provide the, for example, assistive device they need for sports, we do referrals to government agencies and to other organizations that offer this support. And allow me to mention we've received great support from Oxfam during our program implementation. They have been amazing support in all aspects of our women empowerment programs. And it's thanks to partners like those that our work continues to inspire and touch many lives. Yeah.
All right. In less than a minute, your parting shot.
My parting shot is, let me borrow from my friends. Life is like a bicycle. For you to maintain the balance, you need to keep going. So to every caregiver of a child with disability, to every woman and girl, and generally to any person with disability, for us to maintain the balance, let us keep going.
I love that. And we'll leave it at that. Thank you so very much, Juliet, for gracing our show this morning. That was Juliet Mongeli Mwema, who is the founder and executive director, Elevate Her. She's mentioned where to find her if you want to just join them in the work that they are doing in for grassroots levels. You can just reach out to them and join them. This is where we end this. My name is Vivian Dagwa. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia upanzi wa parachichi na makadamia.
Lakini huwezi kusema ati utategemea hii peke yake. kwa sababu sasa matunda ni kidogo. Lakini kama ukiwa na ekaleji kubwa, makadamia inaweza kusaidia kwa sababu pesa iko.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Kenya is investing in technical skills, vocational training, and alternative pathways through TVETs and, of course, creative economy. Now, the million-dollar question is, are we ready to redefine success?
The first thing that we need to do is to rebrand the name.
Yes.
Instead of using alternative, we need to rebrand it to be a career just like any other.
It doesn't matter how old you are, because personally I started at 20 years.
Yeah.
Just figure it out what you like, what you have passion about it, then build it. It will bring a very successful future for you.
We need to be discussing about how we can scale up the alternative pathways, not whether it works.
Imo iko wapi?
Chorembo, Imo iko sawa. Anapigana tu.
Anapigana. Kwa hivyo.
Picha urembo.
Bahati nisilalia, basi pia mkia. Wajileta tu wenyewe.
Tafadhali, nielezee nipate kusikia. Hata hivyo nikisimama.
Umeletwa mtoto. Wazungumzia nini? Mimi nimeletwa mtoto wafu. Yostahili furaha. Na mimi je? Hapa kusoma hata maisha.
The goal today is to help you find the light at the end of a very dark tunnel. And if we leave you with even a small glimmer of hope, then we've done our job.
I tried to rush through the process, and it did me no favors whatsoever. And I got stuck in what you call complicated.
In times, it's hard to carry the weight of grief. And grief is not limited to death. It can look like divorce. It can look like the death of a pet. It can look like a major life transition where we are grieving and our body feels the symptoms where it's hard to think beyond that. And so processing with a licensed clinician, number one, we're not gonna tell your business.
Tunatambulika kwa mandhari yetu ya kuvutia,
tamaduni zetu, ukarimu wetu, vyakula vyetu, uchapakazi,
na pia kwa sauti tofauti za watangazaji wetu waliobobea.
Libengo niko hapa aka upcoming sponsor. Bila shaka hapa ni kama Pedeshe, ma Deep State, pia vile Cartels.
Tunaenzi talanta za pwani, tunakuza talanta za hapa kwetu nyumbani.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tuko mjengoni kama kawa na wanangu wengine wawili.
Usikose kutegea 103.1 Pwani FM, stesheni ambayo itakupa fursa ya kupata uhondo kamili wa pwani na kuleta Wakenya pamoja.
Pwani FM, tafrija kipwani.
The bottom-up economic transformation agenda is not just a plan on paper.
Manifesto tulioandika na tukauzia Wakenya na wakatupigia kura, sio gazeti ya kufunga nyama.
It is happening on the ground across Kenya.
Enda subabogi Moriega Jodhurwa untie Mugani Pamjambo.
In agriculture,
Turkana wameamkia mambo ya ukulima sasa.
On our roads,
lami black anaingia hapa anagausha hapa, wacha bana.
In health,
all our patients are in SHA 100%.
In housing,
kutoa watu kutoka nyumba za mabati kuleta nyumba kama hii ya ghorofa ni kitu mzuri sana.
In our markets,
umetukumbuka sisi mama mboga, shida zetu umezitatua,
and so much more.
It's a good thing the government inakuja mashinani na this is all what we have been requesting.
This is transformation. This is impact. This is delivering the plan. Every Friday on KBC Channel 1.
of the Senate plenary sitting, a broadcast that is streaming live from the Senate Chambers Parliament buildings in Nairobi. And it is a broadcast that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. A warm welcome to you, and we're glad that you are joining us. 9:30 is the time allocated for the sitting, and currently on your screens, that is inside the Senate chambers. Members of the Senate should be making their way into the chamber. And of course, later on, we should also be expecting to see the Speaker's procession also making its way into the House. At the front of the House, just next to the Speaker's sitting position, we can see the stand. Being a Wednesday morning, it is a day that the Senate hosts the Cabinet Secretaries following invitations by the Senate to appear before the Senate plenary sitting and to respond to various concerns that are usually forwarded to the ministry. These are concerns that are raised by the members of the Senate, matters that could be relating to county, inter-county, national, regional, or even international concerns, and the matters that are usually forwarded to the ministry prior the Cabinet Secretary's appearance before the floor of the Senate. And this morning, the Cabinet Secretary that is scheduled to appear before the Senate is the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, Honorable Hassan Joho. And that stand is where the Cabinet Secretary, once he is ushered into the chamber, will be able to take that position and be able to respond or give a comprehensive response to the questions or concerns that his ministry was required to respond to or give answers to. And this particular morning, if the Cabinet Secretary makes his way to Parliament and gets into the chamber, he will be responding to a question. It's one question that was forwarded to the ministry. This question is by the Senator for Kisumu County, Honorable Professor Tom Ojienda. And the questions that the Cabinet Secretary will be responding to is around the programs on the blue economy, the status of all the blue economy programs that are being undertaken by the national government. And this is specifically in Kisumu County since the year 2022. And that the Cabinet Secretary should also indicate timelines for completion of all pending projects. But of course, you understand that this being the primary questions, also members of the Senate usually have an opportunity to ask questions. Those are supplementary questions, of course, in line or that are related to the primary questions. So much as this question is asking about the blue economy programs that are being undertaken in Kisumu County, then also other members can also inquire about the same for the areas that have water bodies or are might benefit from the blue economy programs. Also in the same line is that the Senator will want to understand from the Cabinet Secretary or from the ministry the current infrastructural condition and operational status of landing sites, cold chain facilities, and other key blue economy infrastructure in Kisumu County. On the same breath, the Cabinet Secretary will be responding to any impacts that the blue economy has had, that is, its interventions that are being implemented by the national government on the income levels and livelihoods of the fishing community in the county, that is since the year 2022. And the final question is that the Senator will want to understand from the Cabinet Secretary any measures that the minister has put in place to ensure that funds set aside for blue economy interventions in Kisumu County are fully utilized and translate to tangible economic benefits for the local communities. Well, we can see on the red carpet aisle, that is the procession of the Speaker right from the office into the Senate chambers. That is the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffa Kingi, making his way into the House to preside over this morning sitting. That is the mess right ahead of him, a symbol of authority and power of the House. So you will allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast. Good morning.
Na tuombe. Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Tukuomba utuwajalie tuyatenda na kufikiria mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
So the prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, the Speaker has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes, because this is as provided for in the House Standing Order number 40. The standing order number 39 indicates at least, or the quorum of the House shall be 15 members. And if that quorum is not present at the time the prayer is said and the chair taken, then the Speaker shall call the quorum bell to be rung for 10 minutes. We can't see more members at the entrance of the Senate chambers making their way into the House. In a short while, that quorum shall be attained and the House shall commence. And once that quorum is raised, then without any further delay, the business of the House shall commence. Earlier on, I had indicated to you that being a Wednesday morning, a Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, Ali Hassan Joho, to respond to blue economy programs that are being undertaken in Kisumu County, that is by the national government, but of course other members shall have an opportunity also to inquire about the other areas that have water bodies and benefit from the blue economy. They will also want to understand the status of all those economic, blue economic programs that the government is undertaking. However, once the House is done with the consideration of that particular business, there are motions that this morning the senators have lined up to be able to consider. One of the motions will be a resumption of a debate that was interrupted on Tuesday, 2nd June 2026. This is the motion regarding reports of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements in Kitui County, Makueni, Machakos, Kiambu, Bungoma, and Kakamega counties. Now, these are oversight and networking engagements that were conducted by the Standing Committee on Health that is chaired by the Honorable Senator Jackson Mandago. And these are reports that were laid on the floor of the House on different dates. For instance, the county oversight and networking engagements in Kitui, Makueni, and Machakos counties were laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, the 26th of February 2026. Kiambu County had its report laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 19th of March 2026. And Bungoma and Kakamega counties, the reports were laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, the 21st of April 2026. So debate on these particular reports had already begun on the floor of the House. And this morning, once the members are done with engaging the Cabinet Secretary, then they will be able to pick up on these particular reports that are touching on the status of the health facilities in the different counties and operations around the health services that are being given or rendered by the county governments. Remember, health is a devolved function, and therefore the county or the devolved units have a bigger part to play, or a major role to play, in ensuring that the state of health facilities and even the health delivery processes are in a good, or are followed to the latter by the practitioners within the health facilities, to ensure that the citizens who have a right to health care services really get that particular service. If you're just joining us, that the House is about to commence, the quorum bell is on. Members of the Senate have made their way into the House. We believe if the quorum has not been attained yet, then it should be attained in just a few. And then the House shall be able to commence. Of course, this is a House of rules and has set its own rules, and thereby has to abide by its own rules the rules that it has set. So that quorum of 15 senators, as provided for in the provisions of Standing Order number 39, has to be adhered to. Later on, once the motion on regarding the reports of the Standing Committee on Health, on the county oversight and networking engagements in Kitui, Makueni, Machakos, Kiambu, Bungoma, and Kakamega counties. Once that motion is dispensed with, then the members of the Senate shall go on to consider more business on the motions. There is a motion regarding the mainstreaming of a framework for clean cooking in Kenya. This is a motion that is being moved by the nominated Senator Honorable Hamida Kibwana. In this particular motion, the Senate will be resolving, at the end of it, will be resolving to bring on board the Council of Governors, the National Treasury and Ministry of Energy, the county governments, to be able to undertake various steps. One of them includes that the Council of Governors develop a county-level policy, framework and budget that mainstream clean cooking into devolved energy and health solutions. The National Treasury and Ministry of Energy prioritize clean cooking in financing frameworks, including result-based financing and blended finance models to de-risk private investment. The quorum bell has stopped. Let's listen to the Speaker.
For further 10 minutes.
So the Speaker has directed that the quorum bell continue for a further 10 minutes.